speaking to the questions that we sent you in advance. As a reminder, those are to 1, please give us a brief summary of the offense that you're seeking a pardon for and how your sentence went. We're not here to retry the crime. You don't need to minimize your involvement. We just want to hear from you in your own words what happened. Second, to please give us a brief summary of what you've done since the completion of your sentence, including any community involvement and employment, essentially where you're at now and how your life is different than the time of your offense. And third and finally, a brief statement about why you're seeking a pardon and why you think the governor should grant you one. After you've spent about 3 minutes on those questions, we'll open it up to any follow-up the board may have for you. Don't read too much into it either way if we do or don't have follow-up questions for you. As you know, your application is very thorough and we spent a lot of time with those materials before today's hearing. Once you're done answering any follow-up questions we might have for you, you're welcome to sign off and leave the hearing. You do not need to stay on the Zoom. Once everyone's been heard, the board will meet in closed session and decide whether to recommend your application for a pardon to the governor. You need a majority support of board members present for your application to be forwarded to Governor Evers, who will then make the final decision about whether to grant you a pardon. Either way, you'll hear about the outcome of today's hearing about 1 to 2 months from today. We know you've been really patient just to get to hearing day, so we thank you for bearing with us a little longer so we can get those recommendations to the governor. With that, we'll go ahead and get started with our first applicant this morning, which is Paul Zazdini. Paul Zazdini. Okay, Mr. Zazdini, I don't think I see you in the Zoom. If you can hear us, we will come back to you once we are certain we have you present. And in the meantime, we'll go on to Ryan Turcott. Mr. Turcott.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to take a second to thank you not only for this opportunity, but for your time.
Mr. Turcott, I'm sorry, before you dive in, we can hear you, but we can't see you quite yet. Are you able to turn on your video?
It says,
Oh, sorry.
it says the host has asked you. Oh, okay, cool. Now we should be good.
There we
Yes,
go.
I'm here.
Awesome.
Okay, Mr. Turcott, go right ahead.
I'd like to thank you for this opportunity, but also for your time and take a second to talk about where I was that moment in my life. When I was 15 years old, I was kicked out of my mother's home and moved in with my father, who had issues with alcohol and often wouldn't get home till 1 a.m. This lack of supervision made it very easy for me to throw parties and continue to spiral my life. By this time, I was hanging out with a lot of the wrong people and trying to impress them. On July 3rd, 2006, I was at a party at Officer Patton's home. I had been drinking and taking Xanax that day as well as most days. I had noticed a group of people I identified with at the time as friends. They were all whispering and talking together, and they went into the basement of his home. I believe they were likely going down there to use marijuana. Either way, I followed them. As I walked down the stairs, I saw Elliot emptying his gun cabinet. This is when I should have turned around and walked the other way, but I did not. Upon approaching him, he gave me a firearm, told me to take it, keep my mouth shut, and go home. That's exactly what I did. I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I also didn't care. I was an angry teenager, very upset, and wanted to prove that I was part of the tough group. Shortly after this, I was convicted with burglary with intent to arm myself and 3 misdemeanor counts of party to a crime. At this point, I was given a prescription for Ambien and was also abusing that. I was hanging out with Elizabeth Zamora. I thought that she thought I was cool for being in the newspaper and committing a crime at Officer Patton's home. I didn't have a good self-image and didn't really think she would like me for who I was at that point in my life. We were hanging out and decided to go to her house in my car. We didn't make it too far before I drove my car into a ditch. Seriously injuring her, I was convicted of a felony DUI with the result of great bodily harm. Upon my release, I no longer associated with my old friends. I was able to plead my way into a job at the American Club in Kohler, washing dishes. Hoping to further distance myself from my old life, I moved to Milwaukee to Milwaukee and worked at Milwaukee Country Club for 2 years. This is really where I started to feel good at cooking and started to feel good about myself a little bit. Um, Before this, I really thought I didn't have a future in my life. During this time, I began to want more for myself and continue putting distance from who I was and who I am. I was able to get a job in Palm Springs, California, working for a master chef. This changed my life greatly. It was the first time I really was proud of myself. After 8 years, um, I was able to work in 6 different states for 4 different master chefs. I would accept these jobs at below market rate because of my past. As as I went from one job to the next, I was really careful to keep my references close, as this would always come up in a background check, and I would have some explaining to do for my poor decisions. In my early 30s, I took some classes before taking my written and practical exam through the American Culinary Federation, getting my CEC. Coming from where I was, this was a huge accomplishment for me. It was also the year that I married my wife. 2.5 years ago, I accepted my current role at Grandfather Country Club as executive chef. I now manage a team of 40 employees. 18 of them are international employees on H-2B visas from all over the world, as well as adhering to a $1.8 million budget in purchasing and labor. We now own a home. We rescued 2 dogs, Payson and George. Helping them feel loved and cared for makes us want to foster and adopt children someday. We would like to start our own family, and I know that this felony conviction would make it challenging, and a pardon would greatly increase my odds. In addition to this, in my current job, it was found on my background check. I almost wasn't hired at the last minute due to this. It was only through the character references that I had collected in the past and the name that I built for myself over the past 20 years, I was able to get this position. What I did wrong cannot be taken back. I feel terrible for violating the safety of Officer Patton's home. And I also realize how reckless driving under the influence is and the pain and suffering that I caused Elizabeth Zamora and her family. I also understand how much worse this could have been if I killed her, injured other people. It's hard to accept who I was 20 years ago, but it's a far cry from who I am today.
Thank you, Mr. Turcotte. Questions from the board? Cindy?
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good
You have
morning.
a lot of impressive letters of support, but including one from the victim of your second crime. I assume you've seen that letter. Can you tell us what that meant to you to get her support?
A lot. I feel really bad about what I did, and even though we had remained friends, it was good to know that she forgave me officially, and um, also relieving that she saw that I'm a different person now, and kind of reassuring that the steps that I've been taking are noticed by her.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure.
Eric?
Good morning. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. I
Morning.
wanted to ask you about something in your application. I appreciate that you disclosed to us a 2015 incident in California. And in your application, you said that that case was dismissed. I was just curious, was that like a deferred agreement where you had to complete certain steps to get it dismissed, or was it just dismissed?
It was a deferred agreement. I had gone to several AA meetings as well as a couple outpatient treatments and fulfilled, I think it was 14 days of house arrest.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Turcotte, to follow up on that, I see the AA meetings that you attended. Are you sober now?
Yes, I do drink wine at home, but I don't enjoy being intoxicated anymore. I kind of view it as a very big waste of time.
Okay, thank you. Other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Turcotte. Appreciate your time today and hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Thank you all as well.
Thank you. I believe we have Paul Zansty in the Zoom with us now. Mr. Zansty, if so, we're ready to hear from you.
It's on.
Hello, this
Good
is
morning.
this is Zadney speaking.
Hello.
So, do you want me to take off with the reason why I'm filing?
Can you speak to those three questions that we sent you in advance of today's hearing? I'm happy to repeat them if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you spend about 3 minutes telling us, one, a little bit about the offense you're seeking a pardon for and how your sentence went? Two, what you've done since, employment, community involvement, and essentially how your life is different today. And then third and finally, why you're seeking a pardon and why you think the governor should grant you one.
Okay, the first sentence is again what?
Tell us a little bit about the offense that you're seeking a pardon for. What did you do?
It was under THCs and mushrooms. It was a conviction with Shawano County, and it was under number 0111 CF 151 case, and I spent 6 months in jail and 3 years on probation from this.
Okay, and Mr. Zansky, could you tell us a little bit about what you've done since? Jobs you've had, community involvement, what your life looks like today?
Okay, I don't have a job. I'm under the DVR looking for a job, but I don't have a job at this time. I work for Kinship Pantry. I donate my time for a food shelter to help with homeless and low income people, and I help with them.
Thank you, Mr. Zasny. And finally, could you just tell us a little bit about why you're seeking a pardon? What would it change in your life if you got a pardon?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to read this letter from my 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 caseworker. Okay, my name is Paul Zadney. Thank you for having me today. I recently had a stroke and now under rehabilitation, so my speech is a little bit slow. I would like to be pardoned for a felony conviction in 2011, falsely presented an uncontrolled substance felony and possession of THC, unclassified misdemeanor, a case in Channel County. Uh, um, in July of 2011, I went to a music festival. I tried to sell mushroom caps, which were natural items. However, I told people they were magic mushrooms, but that wasn't true. During the festival, undercover police officers asked me if I was selling mushrooms. I said yes. Later, it was late. I was arrested later. Um, at that night, while under was influenced under THC. It was foolish of me, and I felt a lot of shame for this conviction. I put people in danger, acting irresponsibility, and took responsibility for what I did and apologized for my wrongdoing. I've received 6 months in jail, 3 years on probation, which I completed without any violation. Since the conviction, I stay out of trouble. I have not done anything wrong by law with legal authorities since 2011. I tried to find a job, but I was turned down for my conviction. Nevertheless, I ran my own business selling wellness and natural remedies. I have been volunteering for kinship 3 times a week and the hunger task force in 2024. I help provide food for those in need. I'm getting too old with my health condition. I'm worried about being a felony will affect my housing and social benefits and services I can get as I get older. I I have grown a lot as a person and committed to living a good responsibility life. And I take full responsibility for my mistakes and wrongdoings, and I apologize. And I would like this to be put past me. That's why I'm moving for a pardon.
Thank you, Mr. Zasny. We'll open it up to any other questions the board might have for you. Board members? Reverend Hancock.
Thank you very much. That was a really good explanation for why you want a pardon and what you had done to get the conviction. So thank you for that, and thank you for your caseworker that helped you put together that letter. It was a very clear explanation and a very clear answer to all of our questions. So thanks for that.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Zasny. That covers it from us. We appreciate your time today appearing before the board and hope you enjoy your weekend.
Okay, have a good day.
Thank you. Next up, we have Letitia Williams. Ms. Williams.
Hello, I'm here.
Hello. You can go right ahead, Ms. Williams.
Okay, so I've prepared a statement I am going to read, and it's going to answer all three of the questions. Good morning, my name is Letitia Williams. I appreciate this opportunity and thank you for giving me the chance to speak with you today. I would like to be pardoned for my only felony conviction, theft of movable property, party to a crime. 22 years ago, at the age of 16, I was a victim of trafficking. Another teenager and I stole a vehicle. I pled guilty at 17. I was convicted in 2004 and received 30 months of probation. My probation was revoked due to a retail theft conviction in 2005, which resulted in me being incarcerated. Upon my release, I successfully completed my probation. In 2009, I was charged with misdemeanor neglect while working at an assisted living facility. In a state of panic, I left the facility and received 1 year of probation, which I successfully completed. I was charged with each conviction while 21 years old or younger. My convictions were the result of me being a trafficking victim, and I do apologize for my wrongdoings, and I'm very sorry. My poor decision-making was a result of poor circumstances, growing up in poverty, and a lack of support, and few positive role models. In 2022, I earned a bachelor degree in leadership and psychology from Alverno College. And in May of this year, I completed my MBA from UNCW. There, I also served as a board member for the Graduate Student Association and coordinated wellness events and equity initiatives for graduate students while simultaneously working in the Student Affairs and Research Department. My master's degree has made me a first-generation master's degree holder, which makes me the most educated person in my family. I am currently exploring doctoral programs and hope to be enrolled by this time next year. Recently, I've volunteered at my alma mater as a mentor to scholarship recipients and as a research assistant from prison cells to PhDs, better known as P2P. It is an organization that makes higher education possible for marginalized groups. And I also volunteered as a tribe ambassador member for P2P's sister organization, Light to Life. They also help marginalized women access the resources needed to achieve their goals. There, I helped coordinate holistic events and psychoeducational resources for the women served. This organization has also been a big support for me, and I was fortunate enough to receive letters of support based on the relationships I built with others through the organization. All of my volunteer and work experiences center around research. I am requesting a pardon because I know that it would open more doors for me, increase my opportunities, and hopefully inspire others. Also, as a future PhD student, research is often presented globally. In certain countries, you cannot have a felony conviction, such as Canada, the UK, and I think the pardon would definitely decrease that barrier for me. This conviction also continues to create barriers to employment and professional opportunities, and I would like to finally put this behind me. A pardon would also allow me to move forward, continue contributing to society, and be recognized for the person I have become, rather than childish mistakes I made over 2 decades ago. And a pardon is also a sign for me to move forward and an opportunity for redemption. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Questions from the board? Judge Cremers.
Good morning, Ms. Williams. Couple of questions. Were you in Mecklenburg County in North Carolina in 2011?
Yes.
And it looks like you got arrested there on a charge that was later expunged. What happened in that situation?
Yeah, so I was never arrested. It was a magistrate charge where someone goes to the magistrate and makes claims against you. And I was never prosecuted, convicted, and I was eligible for an expungement due to no no conviction from that allegation.
Okay, and then in 2021, were you in Fairfax, Virginia?
Yes.
And it looks like you got charged with an offense there. What was that about?
Yes, it was a trafficking situation as well. And I worked with the organization who helped me get it expunged. So there was never a conviction. It was just a charge.
So are you telling us that as recently as 2021, you were still being trafficked?
Yes.
And when would you say that stopped for you?
I would say 2021.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Other questions? Reverend Hancock.
Ms. Williams, the judge and district attorney in Milwaukee County who reviewed your application for a pardon supports your getting a pardon from Governor Evers. How does that support make you feel?
It makes me feel really good because I think the criminal justice system is evolving. So I'm ecstatic about it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Other questions from the board? Eric?
Thank you for talking with us today. I appreciate you sharing your story and congratulations on your many accomplishments. I did want to ask about one more of these older cases. You had a 2010 misdemeanor case. Without using anybody's name, could you just tell us a little bit more about what happened there?
2010. Is that for the neglect?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was at work. I worked at an assisted living facility and I was being threatened. I was also being harassed, and I made the poor decision of leaving the facility, thinking that if my vehicle wasn't um, in the parking lot, that they would just leave and go. So um, that's what happened, and I was charged with neglect for leaving the facility.
Did anything happen to any of the residents there when you left?
Yeah, so one of the residents actually fell and the fire department was called and yeah, so I wasn't there to help the resident up when he fell.
All right. Thank you for your response.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions from the board? Ms. Williams, I just want to follow up a little bit on the timeline. You spoke to this 2021 charge. Can you just tell us, you don't need to go into a bunch of detail, but just tell us, is this the same person or group of people trafficking you throughout this timeline arc that we see here, or are these different situations?
It's different situations.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your time. That's everything from us. So we hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Louis Gregory. Mr. Gregory. Mr. Gregory, do we have you in the Zoom? There we go.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Gregory. You can go right ahead.
And he was always there to support me. So that made me love him even more. How do we go from that man?
You can go right ahead, Mr. Gregory.
You think it's hooking up with other women? Well, Your Honor, the first incident, he had a family reunion. And
Mr. Gregory, are you able to hear us?
To meet the rest of his family. I had already met his mother and father. And we were on the way to the reunion. And
Sounds like he's got a radio or a TV on in the background.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Gregory, if you can hear us, we're gonna come back to you when we've got your tech working. Someone will reach out and try to help you. Unless, can you hear us now? No. Okay. We'll do some troubleshooting with Mr. Gregory. In the meantime, Marcus Bush. Mr. Bush, we'll head to you. Mr. Bush, I see you in the Zoom. Are you able to hear us?
Can you hear me?
There we go. Perfect.
Okay. So my name is Marcus Bush. I'm married, father too. I was charged with business theft back in 2006. Just to give you a little bit of that story, where I was in that headspace at that time. So I had a young kid, my daughter at the time. I had her in 2002, and at that time I was going to Whitewater, ended up moving back home, and it was just hard. It was hard living, trying to pay rent, pay daycare, and everything of that type. But so it was hard. We fell in hard times, and at the time I was working at Prime Financial, and what I was doing was I found a way to make my drawer balance at the end of the night by taking money out of it. And so I was charged with that. I had 4 years of probation and extended supervision, and that's the only charge I ever I ever had. They also had me on Huber. I did Huber for like 2 to 3 months, and then I was on house arrest, but I was still able to go to school because I went to school the whole time of this situation taking place. Since then, I've attained a bachelor's degree in IT, networking. Also, I just got my journeyman's card, so I'm currently as a tool and die maker. I'm a first responder. As far as things I do in the community, I have done youth football. I actually host outdoor wellness and training sessions for high school basketball players. I work with a lot of youth. As far as my church, we do clothes and food giveaways, hot food giveaways. One Saturday each month in the summer. My church is located on 14th and Juneau, so we kind of like in the heart of the city. And on the next block, we have a man shelter, so we do get a lot of those guys coming around, needing clothes and shoes and food and of that sort. I'm asking for a pardon. I just believe. It's been 20 years since I actually committed a crime, and I would think, as far as my constitutional rights, I would think it would be restored by now. But not only that, not having that felony floating above my head obviously give me more opportunities. And speaking of that, the reason why I never really did nothing with my bachelor's degree in IT networking, it was actually hard at the time. I graduated in 2011, and companies saying that the felony was on my record, that kind of they wasn't going for that. So again, I didn't kind of let that hold me back. So, and then I got into manufacturing, and apprenticeship opened up. I ended up taking an apprenticeship. It was a 5-year apprenticeship. I finished it in 4 and obtained my journeyman's card, and that's what I'm currently doing. And I don't know, any questions for me?
Questions for Mr. Bush? Cindy?
Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Bush. Couple of questions. So, where are you currently employed?
Strytech Security Corp.
And what do you do?
I'm a tool and die maker.
Okay. You enjoy that work?
I love it.
Oh, nice.
I love it.
It's good to do what you love.
Definitely.
I want to talk about your crime. Took place over a whole year, 79 transactions that you falsified, and you stole over $20,000 from the bank where you were a teller, correct?
Correct.
Okay. How did you pay your restitution back?
So after my charges, it was a big lump sum, and then after that, it was just payments, and they was intercepting my taxes and of that sort.
So where did you get the funds to make the big lump sum payment?
Family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And it didn't occur to you to go to family rather than...
I was so hard-headed at the time, very hard-headed, and I just wanted to do it on my own. But of course, and that's what led me down that alley.
Okay. My last question, as part of the application process, people are encouraged to submit letters of support for their pardon, and you chose not to submit any. Can you tell us why not?
Yeah, so this conviction it always haunted me, and a lot of people actually don't even know that I'm a felon. So it's something that I always try to keep in the back of me. So I never wanted to come out to people and, let them know my situation. It just haunted me, it still haunts me to this day. So.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions from the board? Eric?
Good morning. A couple questions from me. The
Yes, sir.
first is that in CCAP for this case, it looks like there's an amount over about $8,000 at collections right now. Do you know if that's restitution or something else?
I have no idea.
Do you believe that you have paid all of the restitution for this case?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you look at the last letter that the DA sent, he actually put on there that my restitution was paid.
And that's part of why I wanted to clarify with you, just because we had seen the two different things. My other question for you mentioned today being a first responder. I saw in your application you completed the training. Could you just tell me a little bit more about that? Are you actively volunteering doing something? Is this kind of like a second job? What is your capacity there?
So I'm a first responder at work. So basically any type of emergencies or situations that happen, I'm one of the first responders to actually go in and try to help the situation out.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Reverend Hancock?
I have two questions, Mr. Bush. You mentioned the letter from the DA supporting your application for a pardon. How does that support make you feel?
Greatly appreciate it. I love it. Any type of support I love.
Okay. And the second question is, you were partly motivated to take this money to support your daughter. How is your daughter doing?
She actually just graduated from Marquette.
Oh, okay.
With a criminal justice degree and a minor in psychology.
Okay, that's pretty good. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Bush. We appreciate your time today and hope you enjoy your Friday.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Ethan Garner. Mr. Garner,
Good morning.
good morning.
All right, so I want to say thank you guys for everybody for allowing me this chance to speak my piece and explain where I'm at today. So I appreciate that very much. A brief summary of how my offense and sentences had went. Just bear with me here. I do have a speech prepared as well. So at 16 years old, I got charged and waived into adult court for burglary, party to a crime, because there was multiple co-defendants involved in that. I did, after trying to more or less be hard-headed and being a kid, I tried to not talk to them, but eventually I cooperated with the police, gave full statements, informed on them, if you will, to cooperate. More or less, I saw it was the final right thing to do after having a talk with my mom. Anyways, for stealing alcohol and cigarettes, I was sentenced to a state and imposed sentence of 4 years of initial confinement with 4 years of extended supervision with 3 years of probation. However, after having multiple rule violations at that time, I was revoked on my probation and I ended up doing the rest of my sentence of that initial confinement with time credit for that. But before completing my my supervision, I did get charged with a misdemeanor retail theft for stealing sunglasses and razor blades from Walmart. I did that because I was homeless and I was too proud to ask for help. While going to court for that case, I've not met my now wife and mother of our 2 kids, and that's when my life started to get better. I got help with getting my driver's license, getting my first vehicle that's almost paid off, and now being able to provide my family with medical benefits from my full-time job. A brief summary of what I've done since the completion of my sentence. I joined a church. At that church, I also got married to my wife there. Very fortunate to have our 2 kids be able to be a part of the wedding. We ended up moving to another church where I help out a lot with events as far as setting up cooking food for Easter events. And there's also a school inside that building. I help with setting up and taking down things for events like that. Excuse me. So then I help with various other events like that, setting up things for work. Currently, I do work at Caliber Collision. It's a collision center where I am a detailer. I I clean up cars after they get fixed, things like that. And my second job it's part-time. I work for the Green Bay Packers as a security guard. I was very upfront and honest and transparent about my past because my motto is I'd rather not get the job because I was honest than to get the job because I lied and then get fired just for lying, which is more embarrassing than just telling the truth. Since then, I've maintained secured housing since meeting my wife in 2018. Even though jobs have came and not went, like I said, I'm proudly working 3 jobs at this time. The first 2 that I have mentioned already. The third one is I DoorDash on the side, and that allows me to provide gas money to get to and from jobs. Our daughter, who is a special needs child with multiple medical diagnosis, it helps with getting around to her appointments as well because my wife is a stay-at-home mom. So pretty much that's what I've been doing since the completion of my sentence. A brief statement about why I think I should receive a pardon. I think I should receive a pardon due to the immense improvements I have made and the continuous strides I make each and every day. From being homeless, single, to married with children, renting a single family house in West Appear. Sitting before you isn't the man you read about in my documents. That's just evidence that a big change has occurred to get me where I am today. I have dreams of someday being able to work as a correctional officer at my local county jail and use my experiences to be able to shape the future of inmates so that they can see change is possible. This pardon would allow to remove some professional employment barriers that I'm facing without an absolute unconditional pardon. And I want to end that with saying thank you guys for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Garner. Questions from the board? Judge Kremers.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for
Morning.
talking to us this morning. It looks like you were adjudicated of a felony as a juvenile in 2007. Is that still the case? Was that ever vacated or expunged?
So I did go for my expungement hearing with the court official. It was denied due to the victim's statement that when the DA had gotten a hold of them. However, the court official, the judge, he was going to grant me my expungement, but because the DA was graced with another month to reach the victim, that's what changed the judge's opinion.
Okay.
So had they not been able to contact the victim, I would have successfully gained my expungement. And something that I'm planning to do, that if I am granted this pardon, to go back to the court to remove some restrictions from that felony.
Okay, because even if you were to get a pardon here, that adjudication would, I think, still prohibit you from having a firearm, which is one of your stated reasons for getting a pardon. Do you understand that?
Yep. So there is a paperwork that I can file to remove the firearms restrictions from that case, and that's what my next course of action would be.
Let's see. Okay, that's the only question I had. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock.
Mr. Garner, we sometimes get letters of support from judges. Your letter of support was pretty interesting because the judge said he met with you before agreeing to support your application. Can you tell us about that meeting?
Yep. Yes, sir. Thank you for your question. So that meeting took place in his chambers. It was a very formal meeting. Sat down and I expressed everything that happened in my past. I didn't hide nothing from him. I'm not too embarrassed to talk about it, but that doesn't mean I'm proud of it. It sucks. It happened. I moved on. And that's why I'm able to talk open and freely about these things. I provided him with the exact same documents that I provided for the board as well.
And this was Judge Zedmuller, who actually was the judge who had sentenced you originally.
Correct, sir. Yes, sir. Judge Zymolder. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Garner. We appreciate your time today and hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
You too. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Yep,
Okay,
bye.
I believe that we have Mr. Gregory's tech issues sorted out. So Louis Gregory, if you are ready, we're ready to hear from you.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Gregory.
Yes, hi, how you doing?
Excellent. We can hear you now. We don't have your video. We're going to try prompting you to turn that on. There we go. All right, go right ahead.
Hi, how you doing? I was trying to get me a pardon on my felony because I done grew up more and I want to get that taken off my history. And you know, I did wrong. You know, it was a restraining order on me, and I violated that restraining order. And I went by my friend's house, and I was coming out the house, and police came up on me and found me with a gun on me. And I ended up doing 120 days in the House of Correction for that. And prior to that, I went to an anger management and a behavior class. And also, I've been cleaned up my life. This happened about 17 years ago. And I'm just, then moved on. Want to get that off my history.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Questions from the board? Cindy?
Morning, Mr. Gregory. As part of the application process, applicants are encouraged to submit letters of support, and you chose not to. Can you tell the board why not?
I thought I did. Yeah, then I had my niece helping me out. I thought she did submit some applications for that.
Well, you signed the application. You're responsible for it, and there are no
Yes.
letters of support. So why not?
Like I said, I didn't think I really had to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Eric?
Good morning. 2 questions from me. The first is just going back to the offense. Without using anyone's name, could you tell us a little bit more about how that initial restraining order came to be?
Yes, me and my friend, we had got into it, and the police was called, and she happened to go down and file a restraining order against me.
Was this a
But
verbal argument?
it was verbal, yes. Wasn't
Okay.
yeah, it was mostly verbal.
And then my other question for you, you mentioned today attending anger management and a behavior class.
hmm
What did you learn from doing those things?
I learned a lot. I learned, how to better control myself, and how to walk away from things, and just be a better person.
All right. Thank you.
hmm
Reverend Hancock?
Mr. Gregory, the district attorney in Milwaukee who reviewed your application for a pardon supports your getting a pardon. How does that support make you feel?
It makes me feel real good. Makes me feel real good.
Okay, thank you.
hmm
Judge Kremers, did you also have a question?
Yes, I did. Mr. Gregory, good morning, sir. It looks like there were a number of delinquent tax warrants against you in the early 2000s. Is that
hmm
correct?
Yes.
And have those all been satisfied or paid?
Yes, I'm in the process of satisfying those now.
So they haven't been paid yet. You're still working on it.
Yes, still working on it.
How much, do you know how much you owe?
Not right offhand.
Roughly.
Yes. It might be about 5,000.
Okay. And then it looks like in 2012, you were you part of some situation where a restraining order was granted?
Yes, that's the same case. That's wrong. 2012
Yeah.
was granted for me.
Well, it looks like you took part in a hearing. Did you testify in a hearing?
Oh, yes.
What was that about?
This guy had jumped on me, and he kind of battered me up, caused stitches in my head.
Okay. But you weren't there was not a restraining order placed against you in that situation.
No, if we're talking about the same situation, because like I said, it was one a restraining order was against me, with my friend, but that was back in 2009.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Other questions from the board? Mr. Gregory, just one for me to follow up back on the restraining order that was placed against you. You described the argument that led to that restraining order as mostly verbal. Could you clarify what you meant by that?
Yes, it was just mostly verbal. She had pushed me and I pushed her, but it wasn't really, no hitting or nothing like that. It was mostly pushing, and verbal,
Okay, and then that person, that friend was whose house you had gone to
Yeah.
when you got pulled over that resulted in this felony.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any other questions from the board, so thank you for your time and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
All right, you too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Next up, we have Melvin Thomas. Mr. Thomas. Mr. Thomas, we can't hear you. You look like you're unmuted on our end.
There we go. Can you can you
We
hear me?
can, you're just a little bit quiet, I think.
Oh,
There we go.
how's this?
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, board members. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. I have prepared a statement. In 1990, I made one of the biggest mistakes of my life. I was 20 years old, a new father, unemployed, homeless, and scared as hell of the future. I say that to no excuse what I did, but to reflect the mindset of the 20-year-old I was then, who made the decision that has us here today. The decision to put people who were simply minding their own business in the fear of their lives and to take their sense of security and innocence led to a 26-year sentence and a shame that's unexplainable and a lifelong ripple effect that continues to this day. I pled guilty to armed robbery and operating a vehicle without the owner's consent. I take complete responsibility for the seriousness of my actions, and there is no excuse that changes that. I have carried the weight of that harm for over 3 decades, and I am deeply and sincerely sorry, not just for the legal consequences I brought on myself, but for the people's lives I deeply uprooted and the impact of my community. Served 13 years and 9 months in prison. During that time, I made the decision to use my sentence to change my life rather than simply serve it out. I completed every program made available to me. I earned my high school equivalency diploma, my barber's license, and a cabinet making certificate. Skills I chose specifically to prepare myself for a productive, self sufficient life after release. I was released from prison in 2003. Since that day, I have maintained consistent employment, completed my parole in full with no violations and no reoffenses of any kind. In 2014, my supervising agent believed enough in my progress to propose that I be released early from probation so that I could relocate to Texas, where I have continued to build my life. In 2021, I started my own trucking business and grew it to a fleet of 2 trucks with employed drivers. I have given back to my community in ways that matter to me personally. I've donated coats for children through my church, and when I worked as a barber, I gave free back to school haircuts to kids in need. Most importantly, I have been married for 19 years. My wife and I have raised 4 children, a son and 3 daughters, and we now have 7 grandchildren. Our grandson currently lives with us, and we are helping to raise him. It has now been 23 years since my release and over a decade since I successfully completed every condition of my supervision. I am not the 20-year-old who made that decision in 1990. I have spent those years proving through my conduct and my choices that I am someone who contributes to his community rather than take from it. Despite that, this conviction continues to follow me and limit what I can build for my family and myself. My felony record has created real ongoing hurdles for my trucking business. I have been denied contracts because of it, and as a result, I now drive locally rather than growing the business the way I know I could. Just last year, Airbnb revoked my membership after a background check flagged this conviction and upheld that decision on appeal. An offense from 1990 is still closing doors for me today in ways that have nothing to do with who I have become. I have served my debt to society. I have worked diligently for over 2 decades to better my life, provide for my family, and give back to my community. I humbly ask this board for a second chance, not to erase what happened, but to allow me to continue bettering myself, my community, and my family without this conviction continuing to define my future the way it has defined my past. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Questions from the board? Judge Cremers?
Couple of questions, sir. Good morning. First
Good morning.
of all, this is your second time in front of the board.
Yes, it is. I remember you all.
And
Some of you.
last time there was and I'm not asking for any names, but the victim of the car theft had opposed your request because you hadn't paid restitution for that. Now that person is supporting your request. Did you make restitution for the car?
Yes, I did. I
Okay.
have paid all restitution.
All right. And then, how long have you been living in Texas?
Since 2014, August of 2014.
So there's you have a not uncommon last name. So these might be incorrect, but it looks like there's a delinquent tax warrant from Racine County from 2025 in the amount of $39,000. Is that you?
No.
And what about a Milwaukee County one from 2025 for a delinquent tax warrant for about $2,200?
No.
Not you. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions from the board? Okay, Mr. Thompson, just one from me. I see one of the things you've done since your conviction is donating an organ to a family member. You don't need to share names, but can you just tell us a little bit about that?
My relative was in need of a kidney, and it was an uncle. I have an uncle on my mother's side, but that uncle on my father's side was the only uncle that I have who really, as a young kid, who took the time out, who spent time with me and my brother. So I thought that was the least I could do. Not really thinking ahead. It was just like this is something I had to do. And I got tested and, everything matched up and I was able to extend his life for 10 years.
That is really meaningful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I don't think we have any other questions for you. So thank you for your time today and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. You as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next up, we have Aaron Keener. Mr. Keener.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Aaron Kiner, here for a pardon for crimes committed in 2001. I was waived in adult court at the age of 16. I think it was for burglary and dwelling. And well, I was just young and dumb. I was hanging out with the wrong kind of people. And, well, suffer the consequences. The sentence was miserable. Pretty much kept me in the work field of construction or production because being a felon at 16, you can't really have any decent jobs. Ever since, I've been pretty much scot-free of anything criminal. I had a kid when I was 21, I believe, 22. And then just been a family man ever since. And I work, provide for my kid for what I can, or my kids, I should say, because I got twins now. And this is just something that's been on my back for 25 years. I just think it should be taken away finally.
Hey, Mr. Kiner, questions from the board? Judge Commerce.
Good morning, sir. Can you tell us what exactly you did in the crime?
Oh God, it's like a TV repair shop or something like that. It's closed after hours, and we just kind of broke the window and went in. We're just 16. I was hanging with the wrong kind of people and thought it was cool to do that stuff, and well, no, definitely wasn't.
Okay, and you were ordered to pay $7,600 in restitution. Did you pay that?
Yes, pretty sure everything got paid through like work and community service.
Well, you had to pay cash. You had to pay $7,600 in cash, right?
Yeah, I think my father ended up paying the remainder I had. 'Cause I think oh, this is so long ago, I can't remember everything. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty sure my father helped me pay the remainder of it when I was like 21,
And
22.
and you said you had a child when you were 20. Are you uh is she in your life? Do you see her?
No, I haven't seen. In 2007, my fiance at the time with my oldest kid, my first kid. We moved to Florida, then I moved to Texas, and we splitting ways. And I haven't seen him since he was 4.
What about support? You pay support?
She did not come after me for support. I tried getting. I actually went to court to try to be able to have him in my life, and I kind of got shot down, and I didn't know what to do because I was young and wasn't making much money back then.
Okay. Thank you.
Cindy?
Yeah. Good morning, sir. You may have heard me ask previous applicants this, but as part of the process, letters of support are encouraged and you chose not to submit any. Can you tell us why not?
I don't have anyone that I think would be a support. I made a mistake, and the people that were tied to the crime, as I had nothing to do with anymore. Um,
Well, that's not the point of the letters of support. You want us to see who you are today, not who you were back then. So letters from family, neighbors, employers that show who you are today are very helpful to the board.
oh yeah, see, I'm not very, I don't understand some of this stuff too well. It's yeah, so I didn't, yeah, I didn't think it was necessary, or if it was going to be helpful. Yeah, I'm not familiar with this stuff, so it's hard for me.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Kiner. I think that covers it from us. Appreciate your time and I hope you have a good weekend.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you. Next up, we have Nicole Konings. Ms. Konings?
I'm here. It says I can.
Ooh. We can hear you, but you've got a bit of an echo.
Hold on, we're trying to.
Ms. Konings, is it possible that you're listening to the hearing maybe on YouTube on a different computer? Do you have this going on 2 different devices?
I don't think so. Hold on.
Okay, we're gonna have someone give you a call and try to troubleshoot the tech end, because I don't think we're gonna be able to hear you clearly enough to understand you with the echo. So we'll do that and we'll come back to you in just a bit, okay?
Okay.
And in the meantime, we'll go on to Brian Peterson. Mr. Peterson.
Good morning, everybody. I just want to verify that you can hear me.
We can.
All right. Prepared a statement for all of you. I just want to say good morning. My name is Brian Peterson. I want to thank the board for taking the time to hear about my case today. Before I talk about what I did wrong, I just want to give you a little bit of context about where I was in life at the time. I joined my local fire department when I was 15 years old. While I was a member of that department, I went to Chippewa Valley Technical College and earned my entry-level firefighter 1-2 certifications. In early 2007, I enlisted in the United States Army, and while serving as an active student firefighter, I spent the summer at basic training at Fort Knox, Kentucky. When I came home from basic training, things fell apart pretty quickly for me. I did not have stable housing, and I did not have any income. I was still 17 years old at that time, and I would not turn 18 until November of that year. I was scared, and I made decisions that I am deeply ashamed of. I had stolen money from a safe at a family member's house. I was assisting my stepdad's mother set up a quilting machine, and while setting it up, I noticed a safe. I made a decision to look inside where I noticed the money. I did end up stealing the money out of the safe to use for living expenses. At that time, I did also use my fire department's fuel card after I turned 18, genuinely believing at the time that it would be reconciled against my pay. I did keep every receipt, but I know now that does not make it right. Those charges came in while I was already out on bail for the previous charge, which led to the bail jumping charges. One bad decision had led to another, and before I knew it, my life had completely unraveled. I have never tried to make excuses for what I did. I did serve 9 months in jail. I have completed my probation in full, and I have paid restitution on both cases in their entirety. I do own every bit of what I did. What I am most proud of is what I did after. During my probationary period, I was hired by Township Fire Department in the town of Brunswick, where I completed hazmat operations training and attended CVTC for EMT basic. The fact that a fire department trusted me with those responsibilities while I was still on probation meant a lot to me. I currently hold active certifications in CPR, first aid, AED, and basic life support because I never stopped wanting to be somebody who helps people. Today, I work as a service advisor at Caliber Collision and as event security staff with Talon Protection Agency, where I was just promoted to a screening gate lead. I'm an active and present father to my 8-year-old son, and I am active in my community. And I recently donated $1,000 to the Caliber Collision Food Drive, which went to support the Feed My People food bank in Eau Claire. I run a local car club with over 3,000 members. I try to help friends, family, and coworkers whenever they need advice or someone to talk to. I would also like to share 2 experiences that I believe speak to my character in a meaningful way. During my years working as a tow truck operator, I developed a close professional relationship with Eau Claire County Sheriff Ron Kramer. I was the person he called whenever the department received new equipment from auction to help unload it and get it where it needed to go. Over time, Sheriff Kramer asked me on several occasions to come work for him at the Eau Claire County Jail. I did eventually have to explain to him why I could not due to my history. He did understand that, and he advised me to apply for a pardon when the time came. Additionally, during 4.5 years, I worked for Home Tech Innovations in Eau Claire, a company owned by 2 retired Eau Claire police officers. I was trusted to enter customer homes to install security systems and cameras. That trust was never misplaced. What I'm asking this board for is the opportunity to finish what I started. A pardon on both cases would allow me to pursue a full-time career in protective services with Talon Protection Agency and continue serving my community in a meaningful way, which has always been my goal since I first joined the fire department at 50. I do know what I did was wrong. I have spent 18 years proving that it was not who I am, and I am deeply apologetic for my actions. Today, I am asking this board for the chance to prove what I can still become. Again, I want to thank the board for your time and consideration today, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Questions from the board? Eric.
Good morning. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. I have a few questions for you. One is about your 2008 case, which obviously we're not considering for a pardon, but you did have a misdemeanor conviction in 2008. Without using any names, could you tell us more about what that was?
Is that for the Eau Claire County case?
It's misdemeanor 4th degree sexual assault.
Okay, so at the time I was with my high school sweetheart. I had just turned 18. She was 2 years younger than me. We had rented a hotel room here in Eau Claire just to use the swimming pool. I'm not sure still to this date who called the police, but we got a knock on the door. And because of our relationship at the time, I was arrested for 2nd degree sexual assault. During all of that, her family was pushing, because I was living with them at the time down in Independence. I was living with her and her family. They were trying to push to get the charges dropped. They did eventually get dropped down to the 4th degree. I believe it was basically like a ticket, like a citation. And I did 40 hours of community service and paid a fine. I did complete that community service with the recruiter's office for the Army here in Eau Claire. And again, I was a little short on funds at the time, so I did not have the opportunity to pay that fine in full by the time the expungement was null and void. So because I wasn't able to pay that fine in time, that expungement went away, essentially.
All right, thank you. My next question is about a 2018 situation. It looks like it may have been resolved as a non-criminal matter for disorderly conduct with domestic abuse incident modifier and use weapon modifier. Could you tell us about that one?
So that was after my son was born. Me and my now ex-fiance, we were meeting up to do a swap with him, and things got a little heated because we were a little upset about custody arrangement. I don't know what led her to believe that I had a firearm on me, which obviously I can't because I have a felony. Police did show up at the house. I gave them full permission to search the house. Nothing was found, obviously, because I never had one. That did end up, the charges did end up going away. Today, me and her have a very, very good relationship. I go over to her house and grill out with her and her fiance all the time, and everything's good between us now.
Final question from me. You have a common name, so I just want to see if this is you or not. But there was some news coverage about somebody with your name in your area being involved in an organization that seems to do some sting operations or something like that. Is that you? And if so, is that in partnership with law enforcement? Is that independent of law enforcement investigation? What can you tell us about that?
So it was a company that was a nonprofit LLC that I did volunteer my time for a bit. The company did work closely with law enforcement in that specific case. Eau Claire County wasn't too happy that we did expose somebody. And after that, we ceased operations here in Eau Claire. I'm no longer with them anymore.
All right. Thank you so much for answering my questions.
Yep.
Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock.
Sir Patterson, back to the taking the money from a family member, was actually your grandmother, is that correct?
Yes, it was a grandmother through marriage.
And you went into the safe like on 15 different occasions?
I don't recall exactly how many times, but I did go in it several times, yes.
Okay. And was there just a large amount of cash in that safe?
Correct.
Okay. And why didn't anybody notice that the cash was missing?
I did take little amounts at a time, thinking that it would not go noticed, and I regret those actions.
Okay. And you were ordered to pay $12,500 in restitution. Did you pay that?
Yes, it is paid in full.
And how did you pay it?
For a while, I did look payments on my own, and then it did come to a point where it was taken out of my yearly taxes, just tax intercepts.
Okay. But it's all paid now.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Peterson. That covers everything from us. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
All right. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I believe we have Ms. Koenig's tech issues sorted out, so we will hear from Ms. Koenig.
Is this better now?
That is better. Thank you.
Okay. So back in 1999, I was convicted of a party to the crime, burglary, to a dwelling. I was in a vehicle with my, at that time, boyfriend. He went into the building. I sat in the vehicle. I did not find out about the stolen card until I was questioned after that. I do regret it, just being a part of a crime anyways. I was sentenced to 30 days in jail. I ended up sitting 15. I got put on a bracelet. I was on that for 15 days. I was released by my PO, and he released me from probation. I was pregnant, about to have my daughter. So that's the gist of that crime. And then, I've been involved in our community. We have, me and I've got 6 kids now, and I've taken my kids, and we've done a lot of stuff for the community. We've done brown bag lunches to the Salvation Army. Basically, we helped them pack lunches that they were then donated to, families or, the homeless in our community. We took part in Broken Bread through a local church. We, help serve people there as well. They can come in, receive food for them and their family. One of my daughters and I had set up a toy drive Basically, you know, we had boxes out, you know, she competed in pageants a lot. So we, as part of her pageant too, we had, like, she did big, fundraisers at Taco John's. They had a money jar out there, you know, so whatever they made for, you know, her little 3 hours, they donated to her and she got to use that. And then, with her boxes, you know, she had them around the community. People would fill toys in, and then she would donate all of that to the Salvation Army to help kids at Christmas. We did it. We've done a diaper drive, collected diapers and wipes, you know, to help the Family Resource Center in town. We've done school supply drives where we go around and we collect school supplies that were donated, and then we've donated them to Salvation Army. We have participated in the Angel Tree program where we do pull one tag a year. You know, I let my kids pick out toys, clothes, whatever we feel that can help that family out. And we donate that. And then we've also went and cleaned up our local park in town here. So that's just some of the community service that we have done. And I feel I'm asking for a pardon basically because I have spent the last 20 years proving that I am not the person I was when this happened. I take responsibility for my involvement in my crime. I deeply regret the choices that I made. The person sitting before you today is not the 18-year-old who made those decisions. I cannot undo what happened, but I have demonstrated for 20 years that I am capable of living responsibly and making good choices. I was young. I was in a relationship that influenced my decisions. I made a serious mistake, but I have spent 2 decades living with the consequences and building a completely different life. I have raised 6 children. I have a family. I'm about to become a grandmother. My life today is centered around my family, my responsibilities, and being a good member to our community.
Thank you, Ms. Konitz. Questions from the board? Judge Cremers.
Good morning, Ms. Koenig.
Good morning.
In your application and here again today, you basically have said that you just sat in the car and your friend went into this house, I think because you believed he was picking up returning some CDs or something. You didn't know.
Yeah, he had borrowed it's an old CD Walkman thing, and he was.
And I know I'm not interested in what he was doing, but at this point, but you say you didn't know what he was doing in the house and you only found out later after you got charged.
Yeah.
So why did you plead no contest to this then?
The attorney that I had, it was a public defender. Basically, it was pretty much his way or the highway. I've never, you know, this is my first crime. I've never had to deal with anything like this before. You know,
So if that's the case, why did you tell the police officer that you went into the house? Because that's what the criminal complaint says.
Yeah, no, I did not go into the house. I was scared. I was kind of, what was the word I'm trying to find? I felt pressured. I was scared. I was afraid. You know, like I said.
So you did tell the police officer you went in the house?
Yeah, I've never dealt with, you know, trouble or cops before. And I felt like kind of pressured. Like if I could just say what he wanted me to say, you know, it would kind of help me, you know,
So I just want to be clear. You told the officer you went in the house, but you didn't go in the house. Is that?
From what I don't have that in front of me, my police report, but if that's what it said, then that's what I told the officer. But like I said, you know, I wanted to adjust because I know that the DA is concerned too, with the letters that they sent. But I do want to address that directly rather than avoid it. I was 18 years old at the time and I felt pressured and afraid. I did say something that I did not believe was true. I felt that I had to say it. I have ever since regretted it. I understand that from the outside, changing my story can make me less credible, but I am not changing to make my pardon stronger. I am trying to be truthful. You know, I take responsibility. What I can do now is be completely honest. I am asking you to consider the person I have become, you know, with my life now versus, you know, don't judge my character entirely by this one decision that I made when I was 18. You know,
Thank you. Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock.
Just to follow up on what Judge Kremers was asking you, in your application, you say that you have reflected deeply on the impact of my choices. I spent years reflecting on the consequences of my actions, not just legally, but morally and emotionally. And you also say, and you in your application, and you said today that you just waited in the car.
Yes.
And but you also say you've been reflecting on what happened for a long time, both emotionally and morally. And let me just read to you what you told the police officer. She stated they went in the unlocked front door and started walking around looking for money. She stayed together and took a gold MasterCard. So there's a lot of detail in what you told the police. That you went in the unlocked front door, so you knew the front door was unlocked, and you started walking around looking for money, and you took the gold MasterCard. So that amount of detail doesn't seem like something you could just make up because you were scared. And I'm just confused about those facts and the 20 years you've spent reflecting on this and why you still tell us that you didn't go into the house.
So the 20 years that I spent reflecting is because the guy that I was dating, I was with, like, because I was in the vehicle, I got charged as party to the crime. I did not set foot into that house.
Okay. All right.
Like I said, and when I said to the cops, I felt pressured. I was afraid. I've never been in that kind of situation before.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Cindy?
I did.
Good morning. Did you have a conviction for misdemeanor theft in Fond du Lac County, 2002 and 1999?
Not that I know of. I know in 1999, I'd have to pull up my CCAP, but I know in 1999, I had the burglary and the credit card fraud, which the credit card fraud was dismissed.
What happened with the burglary? Was it reduced to a misdemeanor theft or?
No, the burglary stands as a felony, as a felon. And then there was 3 cars.
Oh, that's the crime you're here for. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is Fond du
Oh,
Lac County misdemeanor theft, 1999, and then again in 2002. You live in Fond du Lac County, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to, because I don't remember any of that. That would have been under what, Cooley? I don't remember any theft unless that was tied into that.
No, these were much later. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
I don't
you,
have no
Ms.
theft on here. I don't show any theft charges on my CCAP for 1999 or any, whatever the other date was.
They show up in your background check, Ms. Konings. I don't see them in CCAP either.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Okay, well, I think that covers everything from us. Appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. All right, we do have another set of applicants scheduled to start at 10 o'clock, but in order to stay compliant with our open meeting notice, we are going to take just a 2-minute break and resume right at 10. Thank you. All right, good morning, everyone. We are going to get started with our second set of morning applicants very shortly. I'm going to introduce myself and my fellow board members and go through just a bit of housekeeping. So welcome, everyone. I'm Mel Barnes. I'm Chief Legal to Governor Evers and the chair of his Pardon Advisory Board. I'm going to introduce my fellow board members, starting with Judge Jeffrey Kremers, who was a Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge for 26 years, including chief judge for 7 of those years before retiring in 2018. We have board member Reverend Jerry Hancock, who is the director of the Prison Ministry Project. He previously served as a public defender, a deputy district attorney, and as an administrator for the Department of Justice's Division of Law Enforcement Services. We have board member Cindy O'Donnell, who served as the Deputy Secretary for the Department of Corrections under Governors Thompson, McCallum, and Doyle. She also served as Division Administrator under Attorneys General Lautenschlager and Van Hollen. And we have board member Eric Liberatore, who is the Assistant Director of Student Success and an Assistant Teaching Professor at Marquette University Law School. He previously served as a supervising attorney at Disability Rights Wisconsin and in the governor's office. Just a couple of notes about how today's hearing will work. First, please keep in mind that this is an open meeting being live streamed via Wisconsin Eye and YouTube. For that reason, we're going to ask you to keep your video off and yourself muted until it is your turn to be heard by the board. That will allow us to focus on the person who is presenting. If you do run into any IT issues, don't worry. Someone from staff will reach out and try to help you troubleshoot. If it means we need to come back to you because Zoom isn't cooperating when it's your turn, we can certainly do that. Otherwise, we're going to call on folks in the order listed in the agenda and open meeting notice. Each applicant will have about 5 minutes total to share your story with the board. We're going to ask you to spend the first 3 of those 5 minutes speaking to the questions that we sent you in advance of today's hearing. As a reminder, those 3 questions are to 1, please give us a brief summary of the offense you're seeking a pardon for and how your sentence went. Keep in mind, we're not here to retry the crime. You don't need to minimize your involvement. We just want to hear from you in your own words what happened. Second, please give us a brief summary of what you've done since the completion of your sentence. Community involvement, employment, essentially where you're at now and how your life is different than the time of your offense. And third and finally, a brief statement about why you're seeking a pardon and why you think the governor should grant you one. Once you've spent 3 minutes on those questions, we'll open it up to any follow-up questions the board may have for you. Don't read too much into it either way. If we do or don't have follow-up questions for you, as you know, your applications contain a lot of detail and we've spent a lot of time with those materials before today's hearing. Once you answer any follow-up questions we have for you, you're welcome to sign off and leave the Zoom hearing. Once everyone's been heard, the board will meet in closed session and decide whether to recommend your application for a pardon to Governor Evers. You need a majority support of board members present in order for your application to be forwarded to the governor, who will then make the final decision on whether to grant you a pardon. Either way, you'll hear about the outcome of today's hearing about 1 to 2 months from today. We know you've been really patient just to get to hearing day, so we thank you for giving us just a little bit more time so we can get those recommendations to the governor. With that, we'll go ahead and get started with our first applicant of the second morning session, which is Stephen Johnson. Mr. Johnson, do we have you with us in the Zoom? Okay, I do not see Mr. Johnson, so we will move on to Corey Harris. Mr. Harris.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Corey Harris. I am looking to seek a pardon today. I've been anticipating for this for the last almost 27 years. I've been waiting for this day to come and hopefully it will fall in my favor. I was a 17-year-old kid at the time when I was party to my crime of burglary. I was a very unguided in the wrong direction kid at that time, with still searching the purpose and still trying to find out myself and understand myself. And I ended up going down the wrong path, trying to help someone out as being the lookout person for something that I knew was wrong from the beginning. Since then, I have learned a lot of valuable lessons. As the years continued on, I became a father of 6. I am a husband to a beautiful wife. I relocated from Wisconsin to Illinois. For the last 15 years, I've been working with my community back when I was living in Wisconsin, and even continued doing it so here the last 5 years almost that I've been here in the state of Illinois. I've worked with young men and still continue to work with young men to this day that they don't make the same mistakes that I have made and become a statistic with carrying this burden on their shoulders, possibly for the rest of their life. I know we live and learn from our mistakes, and I have certainly have learned as I'm living. I will say it has been a pleasure for me to work with the people that I work with in the field that I do, with giving back to the community and trying to spark a fire with change, because a positive mindset is a healthy mindset, and a healthy mindset is a disciplined mindset. And that's some things that I've learned along the way. I've also have became a licensed clergy. So I do a lot with the community and being a positive role model, impact, and effective to the peers, to my peers, and to the people and men that I help. I'm currently a head or spirit of a men's organization called the Kingsmen, which we do a lot of community active work, even here in the city of Chicago, on the south side of Chicago. Let's see, currently as my occupation, I am a teacher's assistant, which I've been doing this last 3 years. Before that, I was also working as a youth mentor in various group homes, dealing with troubled teens. And so I changed fields to work with special education. So that's what I do now, which I love what I do. And so today I hope that it falls in my favor by the grace of God that got me this far, that I'll be able to continue with my life, hopefully the next 27 plus years, being a free, totally man with great opportunities to look forward to without any stumbling blocks holding me back or blocking my way. I'm trying to achieve to get to the greatest level that I know my life has.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. We'll open up to questions from the board. Board members? Reverend Hancock.
Mr. Harris, in your application, you say that you have obtained a special education license. We've heard a lot of cases over the years about how having a felony prevents people from getting those kinds of licenses. Can you explain how that happened?
Well, when I signed up for the job that I'm currently doing now, I was asked various questions online when I applied for my license, which I was open and honest about. If I was a felon, I said yes. Have I ever been incarcerated? I said yes. I gave the date and the year of 1999 and when it happened. And the Board of Education here in Illinois viewed it. I had to do some work though. I had to come down to the city of Milwaukee's courthouse, get some court disposition papers, let them know how my case went, how I ended up receiving probation and everything and parole. And I had to gather all that paperwork. And then I had to present that back to the Board of Education along with letters from peers that believe in what I do and know what I do. And that's how I got in the position where I am now.
And that license is from the state of Illinois Board of Education?
Yes, sir, which I will be returning back to work next week.
Okay, and it sounds like that process that you had to go through at the courthouse and stuff was kind of similar to what you had to do for the pardon application that we're hearing today.
Yes.
And the DA in Milwaukee County supports your getting a pardon. How does that support make you feel?
Makes me feel good. I mean, it's honestly, it's like, ah, words can't really describe it, man. It's just the feeling of knowing that I have the opportunity to become a free man with this burden being lifted off of my shoulders. It's like a it's like a ball and chain just being on my neck and carrying the weight. And when I received the information in the mail saying that the DA's office support this pardon, it was like if I could have heard heaven open up, that's what it felt like that day.
Okay, you understand Governor Evers will make the final decision, but that letter of support obviously meant a lot to you.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Thank
yes,
you.
it did. I
Other
feel like
questions
it's a
from the
new day.
board? Judge Garmers.
Good morning, sir. Can you tell us about the 2021 restraining order that was filed against you?
I was currently going through a divorce. We had an argument. I said some things in the nature of you're silly, you're stupid, things in that nature. And before I knew it, I didn't even know it was on me, to be honest, because after we had the argument the way that we had it, the next morning, which was a Monday morning, I never forget, I packed a bag and left. And I never looked back since. And so, okay, Pumpkin, I'm sorry about that.
Right.
And
So
so,
there was a restraining order placed against you. If all you
well,
all are silly.
we went to court. She told the judge that we had that argument and that I degraded her with my words by calling her silly and stupid. And I wish we would never got married. I can't stand you. So she felt as if I was being hostile. And so the judge asked me if this is true, and I admitted to it. Yes, Your Honor. I told her, yes, I did. I said those things in the heat of a argument, what we were arguing back and forth about. And she asked her, is this true that Mr. Harris left the next morning, packed the bag, and never returned? She said yes, and that was going through the middle of our divorce. And so, I'm definitely not a threat to society. I know everyone has their ups and downs. Every couple goes through their storms. That was a marriage that I went through that actually just made me better for my wife that I'm with now. And we have a lovely 2-year-old, as you hear in the background. My life has definitely progressed since that 5-year deal being in that particular marriage. And so that's how that came about.
Okay. Thank you.
Cindy?
Morning, Mr. Harris. I want to go back to the original crime. In your application, you say you acted as the lookout, but the criminal complaint says that you entered the building by a second floor window with a juvenile co-actor, and that together you removed shotguns and compact discs and other items. And the victim apparently knew both of you. So how do you reconcile you were just a lookout with the statement in the criminal complaint that puts you squarely in the house and working? I mean, you were the older of the two people involved.
Yeah, I definitely was the lookout. Um, I did not enter in through that way. I came through the front. I was let in. The original plan was for me just to be the lookout. And so that's how I ended up in the house. But everything else that it says that we took that's what we did. You know, like I said, I was a 17-year-old kid at that time. I will be a 44-year-old man next month, Lord's willing. And you know, when you're a kid, you act as a kid. And when you become older, you put foolish things aside. So that's where I'm currently at now. And if I could go back, honestly, and change the hands of time, I definitely would, even
But you were
before that day.
you were an adult when you completed your application, and in your application you say specifically, not realizing they were going to commit a burglary. You, I mean, your statement in this application is very inconsistent with
I
what the
mean, not at the moment. See what? Oh man, that was 27 years ago. As me being the lookout, I was carried along the way. Once we got to where we were going, to me, it was just a normal hangout as any other day at that time. And when we stumbled across at that moment, that's how that took place. It wasn't like I premeditated and knew beforehand.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Harris. That's it from us. Appreciate your time today and hope you enjoy your Friday.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Next up, we'll go to Cedric Owens. Mr. Owens? Mr. Owens, do we have you with us in the Zoom?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We
I'm
can.
here.
There we go.
All right. My name is Cedric Owens. Back in 2002, I was I had caught a case that had got dismissed by prosecutors. And then about 2 months later, I caught another charge for party to crime and burglary, which I am seeking pardon for today. When I was 17 years old, me and my friends, we had went to a party and some money and jewelry was gone. We had took it in, about $100 worth, give or take. And then we went, like I said, we were at a party and we went upstairs and we took some stuff and left. And then later on in life, I had got in trouble for some theft charges. Um, for the case that I'm looking for a partner for, I did my probation, 3 years on probation. I did that, 75 days county jail time. I did that. I maintained the jobs, various jobs I had. After that case, when I got out, I had met my fiance today. I moved out by her out in New London. And ever since then, I've been staying out of trouble. I had a couple run-ins with the laws during that time. I had grown up. I got 3 kids of mine. And yeah, just kind of nervous.
That's all right, Mr. Owens. We can open up for questions unless there's anything else you'd like to share.
That should be it, unless you guys got questions.
All right, board members? And I think you covered it all. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Owens. We appreciate your time and hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up we have Disa Hendrick. Ms. Hentnick?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good morning. My name is Disa Hednick, and I in 2005 I was charged driving without owner's consent. So my friend came over, I asked her for a ride. She told me she had to go to work, if I could drop her off and then use the car and pick her back up. I made it home. It was snowing, or it had just snow on the ground. I drove to the corner, made a right, and like the back end of the car like slid a little bit, and the police were right behind me, so they pulled me over. Come to find out, the car was stolen, so I was charged with driving without owner's consent. Um, 1 second. Since I caught the case in 2005, I graduated from high school in 2008. and I was 17 at the time when this crime happened. In 2008, I graduated from high school. 2018, I graduated from college with my associate's degree in human service social work. I'm currently attending UWM for my bachelor's in human service social work. Um, Currently, I work for Wisconsin Community Service as a youth treatment specialist. I help at risk youth, males between the ages of 9 and 17. I also work with individuals who have mental and physical disabilities at Helping Hands Community Day Program. Um, Ever since I caught this charge, I just been trying to reach out and it was an accident. Like, I would have never, if I would have knew the car was stolen, I would have never put myself in that position. Yes, we had the keys, so I didn't know that the car was stolen at the time. Um, and I'm just asking for a pardon today because I would like to further my education, which is to be a nurse so I can actually help more people, but mainly children. Like, I grew up in the system and stuff like that, and I just try to help kids not go down that path or make a better way for what they do have.
Thank you, Ms. Hunting. Questions from the board? Judge Kremers.
So you say you didn't know the car was stolen, but in the criminal complaint, it has a statement from you that you knew the car was stolen.
Absolutely not. I did not know the car was stolen. She had the keys and gave me the keys.
So why did you plead guilty?
I I thought I pled no contest
Okay, why did you plead no contest?
because I had no way to prove that I didn't know the car was stolen. Like I had, and what my attorney was telling me that if I didn't come up with like an agreement that I would be doing more time, like I would sit in prison or in jail.
According to the criminal complaint, though, you told the police officer that you knew the car was stolen. So that's a lie? You didn't tell the police officer that?
Actually, it was like 20 some years ago, but I did not know the car was stolen.
So
My family was on the scene. They talked to the police. They gave them statements and everything.
I'm asking whether you told the police officer that the car was stolen, that you knew the car was stolen. You didn't tell.
Never said that. Never.
Okay. It looks like you've had some domestic violence convictions in 2009 and some domestic violence restraining orders in 2012 and 2014, another disorderly conduct, domestic abuse and conviction in 2014, and another one in 2019. Are those all with the same victim?
Those are relationships that I was trying to get out of. In order to cover myself from getting in trouble, I got the restraining orders because when the police came out, they would always say that somebody had to go to that one incident, the house was mine, but the person I had living with me had kids, so they made me leave my house, and they said that because it's domestic violence, someone has to go to jail.
Okay, but you got convicted in each of those instances of a criminal charge. Right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Eric.
In your application, you mentioned that you completed anger management. Did you find that helpful? And if so, what did you learn?
I learned that like it's best to just walk away. Majority of the time that's the best thing you can do. And lately, over the years, it has worked. I try to get myself out of certain situations. I move out of the house with toxic relationships. I even moved in a different area in Milwaukee because I had a restraining order like against my sister and stuff like that. So like I try to move myself out of situations that are toxic like that.
All right. Appreciate you sharing.
No problem.
Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock.
Just to be clear, in 2012, the domestic restraining order was against you with a firearm restriction. Why was there a firearm restriction on that restraining order?
So I guess that party alleged that I had a firearm, and so like every case after that, whether when it was regarding domestic violence or restraining order, it's been part of protocol to ask me to turn over any firearms that I have.
And did you have firearms?
No, sir, never.
And in 2014, the domestic abuse restraining order was against you.
Correct.
Okay, so when you're saying that it was, you were involved with somebody else, but the restraining order was against you, not against them.
Correct, because I said like this released from jail, house, a car, I was taking care of her kids, so she wanted that all for me, which she end up at the end of the day I end up giving her all of that, and I moved out of the household. That was the only way to keep it from being toxic.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Ms. Hunter. That covers it from us. We appreciate your time and hope you enjoy your Friday.
Thank you too.
Next up, we have Kenneth Ellisted. Mr. Ellisted. Mr. Ellisted, do we have you with us in the Zoom? Okay. Come back to Mr. Ellisted if we get him, and in the meantime, we will move on to Rodney Caraba. Mr. Caraba.
Yes, you're here. Got it.
I'm here. You see me?
We can, although only part of your face. There you go.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, that's better. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm Rodney Caraba. I was charged with a felony back in 1988 and 90. I went before a judge, and Judge Crabb decided that I went through enough because we had stray voltage at the time when I sold cows for a gentleman, and I had contacted him right away. And he said he was going straight to the police. And I said, I guess I understood. So that's where we stood. And I went before the judge, like I said. And she said I went through enough and gave me probation as long as I paid it all back, and which we did. And then since then, it was hard to find jobs, but the jobs I did find, I worked for FedEx for a few years till the computer age came along. And then they looked in deeper in detail. So they found out I had a felon, so I had to be let go there with FedEx. I had to sell my routes and then find different employment off and on, from painting to electrician to milking cows to anything I could find. And then right now I'm retired, so I get involved with the kids in sports and such, and I've coached younger boys in basketball and varsity boys in basketball. And I got involved with fast pitch because I was a fast pitch pitcher back in the day with the girls' high school back in Owen. And now I'm in Rhinelander, and I've got grandkids coming up, and I'm involved with fast pitch with my granddaughter right now.
Excellent. Questions from the board? Reverend Hancock.
You got a very strong letter from the chief of police of the Lac du Flambeau band, how did that letter of support make you feel?
Oh, that makes me extremely happy that somebody would take involved in what happened. Basically, it was something I thought I was going to help save the farm, but even in the long run, if I'd have known back then that I had stray voltage, I would have probably went a different way. But I have a son that's a police officer in Lac du Flambeau, and in a long run, they discussed what I had, and he looked into it, and he thought it was very, very strong case to get my felony taken care of. So because I want to hunt with my kids yet, and I'd like to get my grandkids out there, so I said, sure, let's go for it and hope for the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy.
Yep. Good morning, Mr. Caraba. I want to go back to the original offense, if we could. You said you reported to the victim that you had sold the cows and that he said he was going straight to the police.
Correct.
But for years, you hid the fact that you were selling.
No. I guess I don't understand the question.
Well, let me finish it. You might if you let me finish. According to the criminal complaint, from 1988 to 91, you sold 42 cows that were on loan to you. You had, and I understand you were doing it to try to save the farm and you thought you could pay it back eventually, but there were various inspections that took place to verify that the cows were on your property. You hid that from the inspector. You switched ear tags. You admitted that he was sort of bad at counting and you would try to confuse him. Isn't that all true?
I did not confuse him. When I had the original agreement with the gentleman, when I had cows, we had even said, well, if you need to sell one, get another cow and we'll put the ear tags in it. It was not hidden by no means, but when I told him that I could no longer do this and I sold some cows, he said, I'm going straight for the guts. I'm going to the police. I said, I guess you have to do what you got to do, but it is what it is. And I admit what I did, and I wasn't going to run from it because I know it wasn't right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Caraba. I think that covers it for us. We appreciate your time and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Stacy Hoyt. Ms. Hoyt.
Hi there. In your letter, it said I could prepare something, which I did because otherwise I would probably talk to you guys for about 18 minutes. So thank you for letting us prepare something instead and for letting me speak in front of you today. I am seeking a pardon for 2 felony convictions of possession of a narcotic drug and 1 felony conviction for theft of movable property. That stemmed from my own ordering of narcotic substances through my workplace. It was in 2016. I was caught, charged, sentenced, and I'll be quite honest, I think I got off pretty easy for someone in my position. I wanted to begin by taking responsibility for my actions. These offenses occurred during a period of my life when I was struggling with alcohol and addiction issues. And this does not excuse my choices, but it does explain how far I was disconnected from my values and the person that I wanted to be. I accept responsibility for the harm I caused and the poor decisions that I've made. My sentence did become an opportunity to transform my life. Once I committed myself to recovery, everything in my life changed. I complied with all of the conditions of my supervision, have maintained my sobriety, and have worked really hard to rebuild my life through honesty, accountability, and integrity. My probation officer ultimately recommended that my supervision be terminated over a year early, which was very meaningful to me. Since completing my sentence, I have dedicated my entire life to recovery, service, and helping others who struggle with addiction and hopelessness. I have maintained steady employment throughout my entire period of sobriety, which has allowed me to be reliable, responsible, and consistent over many years. I'm grateful to work for an organization that has trusted me, supported my growth, and encouraged my commitment to serving others. One of the most meaningful parts of my life is sponsoring women through the 12 steps of recovery. Over the years, I have sponsored many women as they rebuild their relationships, regain custody of their children, secure employment, and find hope for their future. Sponsorship is a daily commitment of service, accountability, and compassion, and being present for others during some of their most difficult moments. I volunteer throughout the Milwaukee recovery community and share my story with individuals who experience addiction and homelessness. I mentor people, I work with women in treatment, and I facilitate meetings for the VA in Milwaukee. Throughout this journey, I have had to prove many times that I'm not the person that's reflected in my background check. I have some really funny stories about how that all started with Airbnb telling me I could no longer rent with them. But so if anyone wants a funny story of how that would come to pass, I'm always up for a good story. I think I should receive a pardon because my life to date reflects the purpose of the pardon process. I have accepted responsibility for my crimes, successfully completed my sentence, have maintained long-term sobriety and recovery. I've remained consistently employed, and I've dedicated my life to helping others overcome the struggles that at one time defined my life. One of the most important things that I've learned in recovery is the concept of amends, because amends are more than just saying that I'm sorry. They're actions that are demonstrated over and over. I can't change the mistakes that I made, and I have spent the last many years trying to repair the damage caused by my past, by living differently, serving others, and demonstrating integrity. And for me, a pardon wouldn't erase my past or remove my responsibility for it, but it recognizes that person that I'm becoming and the life that I'm building through recovery, accountability, and service. Most importantly, it would really strengthen my ability to continue carrying a message of hope to others. Every day, I meet people who believe their lives are beyond repair because of their addictions, criminal histories, and poor decisions. And my life is proof that people can change, recovery is real, and redemption is possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hoyt. Before we go into questions, I just want to note one of our board members, Eric Libertor, has recused himself from your case, so that's why he's gone off video. He won't participate in questioning. But I believe we have some other questions for you, starting with Cindy.
Yep. Good morning, Ms. Hoyt. Congratulations on your sobriety. You submitted a beautiful letter from your oldest son. Very powerful.
Oh.
Can you talk about what that meant for you?
I mean, I cry still thinking about it.
Yeah.
I asked him to write something and he said, well, what should I write? And I said, I can't tell you that, just be honest.
Yeah.
And what he wrote struck me to tears.
Yeah. Very, very powerful. Okay. Thank you.
Other
It
questions?
still does, sorry.
That's all right, Ms. Hoyt. Reverend Hancock, question?
Ms. Hoyt, the judge and DA in Milwaukee County who reviewed your application for a pardon supports your getting a pardon. How does that support make you feel?
Well, it's about the most humbling experience I've had. And funny story, sir, the judge from Milwaukee County, the one who actually saw over my case has retired, but I served as a foreman on a jury for her. And I'm sure she doesn't know that, but I obviously recognized her name immediately. And so it was very humbling for both of them to support my petition.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. We appreciate your time, Ms. Hoyt, and hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you. Next up, we have Tommy Fleisch-Fresher. Mr. Fleisch-Fresher,
Hello, good morning.
good morning.
My name is Tommy Robert Fleischfresher. I'm seeking a pardon for 3 felonies. My first one was manufacturing. I was hanging around with a bunch of people that smoked a lot of dope, and we got talking, and I started trying to grow my own, and got in trouble. I did my court sentence and my jail time, and moved on from that one. My next one was a retail theft, a burglary. I got in an argument with my cousin. We were at a birthday party, and I took off, went to the Pembine Sportsman's Club, and I went in the back just to cool off, and I happened to see a light on, and I walked over and looked in there, and there was the beer coolers room, and I went in and took a couple cases of beer, and that's one of what set me on my path to becoming a better person. I got my HSCD while I was in prison. I did alcohol and drug assessment while I was in there, and I still go to AA meetings. I haven't drank in over 10 years. I've got better jobs, and that's why I'm actually seeking a pardon, because I want to further my career with K&K Trucking that I work with. I want to get into more other stuff. And then the third one was felon in possession of firearms. I wasn't actually living at the trailer at the time. I let a couple friends move into it. I knew they had guns, but I wasn't there, so it didn't bother me. But my mail was still going there. But when they searched the house looking for one of their friends that had a warrant for the arrest, they seen the guns, and they kind of just said, well, you own the property, and you're in possession of them. But since then, I've been with my girlfriend for a very long time. She's a very good woman. We have 4 grandchildren together. Well, they're not mine, they're hers, but I love them dearly. I just want to continue watching them grow, and hopefully I can move on from this.
Thank you, Mr. Fleischfresher. Questions from the board? One for me, sir. You had a ticket or a charge, it looks like, from this year, set fire without extinguishing. It looks like the case is maybe still ongoing, but can you just tell us a little bit about what happened there?
I have a camp up in Wisaki, and I had a campfire the night prior, and it went out. I thought it was dead. The next day, I picked up brush and I put it on the same pile, and I left, and I come back, and it started on fire, and it burnt a couple acres. I got a fine for failure to extinguish the campfire properly. I paid that, and that's pretty much it on that one.
Okay. And those acres that burned, was that just land that you had, or was anyone else's house or property damaged?
It was somebody. It went onto my neighbors a little bit and burnt, and I'm waiting to take care of that when they get done with whatever their assessments and stuff are.
Okay, thank you. Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock.
Going back to the burglary charge, you were 22 years old, and you got 4 years in prison for, by your account, stealing 2 cases of beer
No, I'm
That's
sorry. It wasn't 2 cases. It was actually like 48 cases.
oh,
I stole a lot,
okay. Thanks.
not 2
Okay,
cases. I'm sorry about that.
good. All right. Thank you very much.
And I'm very sorry that I did that.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Fleischfresher. We appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
You too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, we have Adam Hollis. Mr. Hollis.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Adam Hollis, and I'd like to start off by saying thank you for the opportunity to present my case to this committee. In 2010, at the age of 17, I was arrested for multiple counts of theft and burglary. I pled guilty to 2 charges of burglary and was sentenced to 30 days house arrest and 7 years probation. The first couple years were difficult. I struggled to find work and wasn't in the best headspace. This resulted in an OWI first offense in 2013. After this occurrence, I realized I wanted to turn my life around and start taking actions to make that happen. I went through substance abuse counseling, and shortly after that concluded, I was finally able to find a stable job, which gave me a lot of confidence to show the world that my life did not end with this conviction and still had a lot of positive things to offer. The next few years went by smoothly as I worked on paying off my restitution, and until late 2019, I was able to finally satisfy the judgment successfully and get off probation, which was a great relief because I had planned to move down to Texas with my wife, my girlfriend at the time. We've been happily married for 5 years now and have been able to purchase our first home, along with being able to start my own business, which I've been running for the last 3 years. Since my conviction, I've accomplished a lot of my goals in turning my life around, and I feel like I've become a positive contributor to my community, and I'm requesting a pardon in order to put the past behind me and remove future hurdles associated with my conviction so that I can continue to grow.
Thank you, Mr. Hollis. Questions from the board? All right, I think you covered it all. We appreciate your time today and hope you enjoy your weekend.
You guys as well. Thank you.
Anthony Burtz is our next applicant. Mr. Burtz. Oh, we can't hear you, Mr. Burtz. We can see you, and you look like you're unmuted.
Well, now.
Oh, yes, you're just very quiet. Would you lean a little closer for us?
Sure.
There we go, there we go.
Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Good morning. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for taking time out your busy schedules to just hear me out, just to listen to me and hopefully provide a second chance for me. I was found guilty of misconduct in public office, and I also had possession with intent cocaine and possession with intent THC. My sentencing, let's just say I'm very blessed to be here, to even be talking to you guys here free at home. Things could have went very, very differently for me, just by the poor decisions that I made. So I'm thankful for this opportunity. I feel very blessed, and I can even remember the judge. I was happy that my lawyers and were able to convince the judge that I wasn't the person that I was depicted to be. But moving forward, I accept full responsibility for my actions and any hurt, any harm that I've caused, or and the embarrassment, quite frankly, to my family. What I've done since I've got married, put two of my children through college. I've donated time coaching youth football out in the Mequon area. I've refereed and coached kickball teams. I've had coat donations, like coat charities. I've donated food. I've given away turkeys to people in need. I've even driving down the street or seeing people at stoplights, I've always tried to give back and give monetary donations to people that are in need, or people that were cold, or giving cups of coffee to people that were outside in inclement weather. Why I think I should receive a pardon. I feel that this has happened over 20 years ago, and the person that I was 20 years ago, I'm not that person today. I've paid back I feel like I've paid my debt to society. I've paid back all the restitution, and I like to explore some more employment opportunities. Also, since I've got home, I was blessed enough to have hit the ground running. I literally, when I got home, I was working 2 jobs. I was working over 80 hours a week. I'm still with my current employer now. I just completed end of June, 18 years with my same company. Started from ground zero, and right now, pretty much everything runs through me. I report to one person, and that's just the board president. I think I've proven to be a leader. I think I've proven to, a change mindset, and I'm just looking forward to the opportunity to hopefully, have a pardon, because in my line of work, board directors are, they fulfill their terms. They're constantly new board members coming on, board members falling off, and I'm constantly have to, move past the stigma of being a convicted felon. Just case in point, something recently came up. I guess somebody ran my name on CCAP or whatever, and it was like, hey, do you guys know that your manager that's running this place, this and that, he's a felon, this and that? And it was a big uproar. And then they go back and look at my application from like over 18 years ago, just to see that I did not lie on the application. When it asked me if I was a convicted felon, I checked the box. Yes, I was a convicted felon. So I did not lie to get the job, because that's exactly what I didn't want, for the carpet to be pulled from underneath me after, being at a place for such a long time. So that was definitely one of the lessons that I learned, while I was sitting down. I'm just glad that I'm happy, blessed to even be here to talk to you guys, because the amount of counts I was facing and the amount of years that I was facing were astronomical. My life would have been completely over. I already caused enough embarrassment to my children, to my family, and everybody was just shocked, because that's just not who I was. I just made a very poor decision at that time of my life. So I just want to atone for the mistakes that I made. I want to continue being the man that I am today, and I want to move forward, put it past me, not ever forgetting about it, but just keep it as a constant reminder to keep that fire burning in me, to know, where I came from and where I'm at now.
Thank you, Mr. Burtz. Questions from the board? Reverend Hancock?
Mr. Burke, the district attorney in Milwaukee who reviewed your application for a pardon supports your getting a pardon. How does that make you feel?
Extremely blessed, extremely fortunate. I can't tell you what that meant for me. I can't tell you the feeling that I got to even get a letter back from the governor's office. I mean, I just feel fortunate that somebody believes in, giving me ultimately a second chance.
Well, you understand the governor will make the final decision.
Absolutely.
The DA supports your getting a pardon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? All right. Thank you, Mr. Birds. That covers it from us. Hope you enjoy your weekend. We appreciate you talking with us today.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, and I'm gonna do one more call for Stephen Johnson or Kenneth Elistad. If we have either of those individuals with us in the Zoom. And I do not see them. Okay, so that is the last of our morning session applicants. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to move the board into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85 sub 1 sub A sub D and sub F for purposes of deliberations concerning specific cases before the board, for purposes of considering specific applications and considering financial, medical, social, and or personal histories of specific persons. Do I have a motion? Judge Kremers, do I have a second?
Second.
Cindy, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, and board members will ask for just a moment to get everyone back into the Zoom waiting room. Good afternoon, everyone. If you're just joining us from the waiting room, we're going to give everyone a moment to get in and connected to audio, and we'll get started very shortly. All right, I think that's everyone. So good afternoon. My name is Mel Barnes. I'm Chief Legal Counsel to Governor Evers and the chair of his Pardon Advisory Board. I'm going to introduce my fellow board members, go through just a little bit of housekeeping about how today's hearing will work, and then we'll get started hearing from all of you. So with us today, we have board member Judge Jeffrey Kremers, who is Attorney General Call's nominee to the board. Judge Kremers served on the Milwaukee County Circuit Court for 26 years, including as chief judge for 7 of those years before retiring in 2018. We have board member Cindy O'Donnell, who served as the Deputy Secretary for the Department of Corrections under Governors Thompson, McCallum, and Doyle. She also served as a division administrator under Attorneys General Lautenschlager and Van Hollen. We have board member Reverend Jerry Hancock, who is the director of the Prison Ministry Project. He previously served as a public defender, a deputy district attorney, and as an administrator for the Department of Justice's Division of Law Enforcement Services. And we have board member Eric Liberatore, who is an assistant director of student success and an assistant teaching professor at Marquette University Law School. He previously served as a supervising attorney at Disability Rights Wisconsin and in the governor's office. So just a couple of notes about how today's hearing will work. First of all, please keep in mind that the meeting is being live streamed via Wisconsin Eye and YouTube. For that reason, we're going to ask you to keep your video off and yourself muted until it is your turn to be heard by the board. That will allow us to focus on the person who is presenting. If you do have any IT issues, don't worry about it. Someone from staff will reach out to you and help you try to troubleshoot. If it means we need to come back to you because Zoom is not cooperating when it's your turn, we can certainly do that. Otherwise, we're going to call on folks in the order listed in the agenda and open meeting notice. And each applicant will have about 5 minutes total with the board. We're going to ask you to spend the first 3 of those 5 minutes speaking to the questions we sent you in advance of today's hearing. As a reminder, those are to first, please give us a brief summary of the offense you're seeking a pardon for and how your sentence went. We're not here to retry the crime. You don't need to minimize your involvement. We just want to hear from you in your own words what happened. Second, give us a brief summary of what you've done since the completion of your sentence. Community involvement, employment, essentially where you're at now and how your life is different than the time of your offense. And third and finally, a brief statement about why you're seeking a pardon and why you think the governor should grant you one. Once you've spent about 3 minutes speaking to those questions, we'll open it up and see if the board has any follow-up questions for you. Don't read too much into it either way if we do or don't have questions for you. As you know, your application materials are quite detailed and we've spent a lot of time with those before today's hearing. Once you're done answering any questions that the board has for you, you're welcome to sign off and leave the Zoom hearing. And once everyone's been heard, the board will meet in closed session and decide whether to recommend your application to Governor Evers. You need a majority support of board members present in order for your application to be forwarded to the governor, who will then make the final decision on whether to grant you a pardon. Either way, you'll hear about the outcome of today's hearing about 1 to 2 months from today. We know you've been very patient to get to hearing day, and we thank you for bearing with us just a little bit longer so we can get those recommendations to the governor. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started with our first applicant of the afternoon session, which is Jerry Hurt. Mr. Hurt. Mr. Hurt, do we have you with us in the Zoom? Okay, do not see Mr. Hurt, so we will go on to David Gobelli. Mr. Gobelli.
Hello. Oh, my video turned off. Sorry about that. There it is.
There we go.
Hello, good afternoon.
afternoon.
Should I just start?
Dive right in.
Perfect. Hi, good afternoon. My name is David Gobley, and I would like to thank the board for their consideration today. In 2004, I was working for my employer, and I began to use their company credit card for some personal purchases over the course of a few months and charged $5,000. Once that was discovered, I went through the whole trial process or the court process and have a felony for misappropriation of identification and was placed into the first offenders program, which I failed, fell behind on both restitution payments and therapy appointments, and then was rearrested and spent 2 months in jail, the Dade County Jail. Was released with time served and was put on probation for 3 years. Released after 1 year with full restitution paid and no infractions during that probation time. Since my conviction, I began to focus on schooling, my career, and just kind of getting my life straightened out to where I would like to be. Moved to Ohio for a fresh start and then moved back to Wisconsin about 4 years later and worked in restaurants and fine dining around the Madison area. About 12 years ago, I fell into a position at a startup company and had been working for them for that entire time. And then in about a year ago, had the opportunity to start my own company and have launched that since. My business has been a lot of fun since launching. I now employ 5 community members and have helped many companies across the country start their brands and kind of launch and help founders kind of launch their dreams. So as far as outside of work, I've been the board president of the Friends of the Mount Horeb Library for about 4 years, and I'm the former vice president of the Mount Horeb Area PFLAG. And then I also do community arts nights here at my studio, and just trying to make a inclusive business for all in the community. I applied for a pardon, so I don't have that constant criminal cloud hanging over me. I've also began to consider running for public office in Mount Horeb to kind of give back what this village has given to me. And yeah, and also just this felony sentence has just kind of been a cloud, and I just want to kind of clear it out. I've done a lot of work. I've worked tirelessly for the last 20 years, and yeah, just really looking forward to it.
Thank you, Mr. Gobley. Questions from the board? Cindy.
Good afternoon, sir. As part of the application process, applicants are encouraged to submit letters of support. And you talk about all you're very active in the Mount Horeb community and everything, but you chose not to submit any letters of support. Can you tell the board why not?
I mean, frankly, like hardly anybody. My partner knows, my family knows, and that's pretty much everybody in the last 20 years that I've ever told about my sentence. Probably, I would like to lie and say I'm not embarrassed by it, but I am. I'm really embarrassed by it still after this much time, and I didn't have anyone to write a letter of support that also knows about my conviction besides my partner.
Well, we've gotten, and just for those listening, we've gotten some very powerful letters from partners and family members because you want us to see who you are today and not who you were then. And they've certainly been along that journey with you more than anyone. So I'll just say that for others listening, that those letters are very valuable to us.
For some reason, I was just assuming it wasn't like partners and family it should be more like third party outsider, but that would make sense. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock.
Tell me about being a cook at Lombardino's.
Oh, it was so much fun. So after my conviction got out, I spent 2 months in jail. I moved back in with my parents for a little bit and got a job at Lombardino's. I have always been excited about food, and it was a good excuse to just try something new, and was in it for 12 years, or about a decade. Lombardino's was a lot of fun, my first restaurant experience, and it set my future expectations of what good food should taste like. But it was just it was a lot of work. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But
well, it's changed a lot of people's
really
expectations.
Informative about myself.
Good. All right. Thank you.
Yes, it has.
Other questions from the board? Mr. Gobley, just one for me. You mentioned that you employ folks in your business now, and I'm just curious, given your experience, if you employ anyone who also has a record, or if you look at that differently when you see applications for folks who might also have a felony on their record.
I haven't seen anybody who has listed felony before. I don't think that I would. I mean, I've been through it. I know that people change, and I know that people grow up, and the David today isn't the same person 20 years ago or 5 years ago, really. So it's something that it's a status check mark I'm really willing to look for and work with and see how my company, Lamgenta, can like support everybody else. Yes.
Thank you. All right, I don't see any other questions, so thank you for your time, Mr. Gobley. I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Perfect. Thank you. You too. Thank you all.
Thank you. I believe we have Mr. Hurt with us in the Zoom now. Mr. Hurt, if you're ready, we'll turn it over to you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Mr. Hurt, we can hear you. We can't see you. We're going to prompt you to turn your video on. There we go.
Okay. There we go.
All right, go right ahead.
Good afternoon. How you doing? My name is Jerry Hurt. My apologies for being late. I was having some technical issues here. So my apologies for that to the board.
No problem. Mr. Hurt, were you able to hear kind of what we're going to ask you to speak to in the beginning?
No, I didn't hear anything from the beginning.
Okay, we're going to ask you to spend 3 minutes speaking to those questions we sent you in advance, and then we'll open it up to any follow-up questions we have for you. Do you need me to repeat those questions?
Yes.
Okay, we'll have you first start by telling us about the offense you're seeking a pardon for and how your sentence went. Second, tell us a little bit about what you've done since, employment, community involvement, how your life is different now. And then third and finally, if you can touch on why you're seeking a pardon and why you think the governor should grant you one.
Okay, so my sentences, most of them are for burglary. So when I talk about one, I was going to speak about all those. And my first offense was attempt to operate owner's car without consent. Um, Basically, my criminal record, it all stems from me not, completing high school, not having a high school education. So I knew pretty much me being in the work field wasn't going to be any good options for me. So, that was the route I chose, was crime. So those crimes sent me to prison, from my bad decisions. And I did go to prison, and I believe I did needed that time to realize what did I want to do with my life. And prison did help me realize the goals that I can accomplish in life. And I started off by receiving my HSED while I was there. That was my first accomplishment within the first year of me being in prison out of my sentence. Then I furthered my education along with the groups that I was able to attend while I was there. I did a little carpentry work because I always wanted to do carpentry. I did a little of that while I was in prison. Just got to know myself, and let my let myself see the different options that's out there that I have. That's more peaceful and not stressful by being in the streets, and I could get the same results with peace. And since prison, I came out, I opened up a truck company, Hertz Trucking. I opened that up in 2015. I was released in 2013. I started getting my experience of driving in 2013, and I went on to open up my own company, and it's been very successful. Well, until today now. Currently, I'm still the owner of Hertz Trucking, and it still is going strong. And one of the reasons I want a partner is there is more contracts in trucking. I love this career I'm in, this profession. I love it to death. And there's some government contracts that I would love to go out there, and I definitely wouldn't be able to do that with a partner. I was able to take my family to what was it, Rochester, New York, and see Noah's Ark, and they wanted to go over to the Canada side, and I was like, well, Dad can't go at this moment, and I thought, what can I do, to enjoy that? And I looked into the pardon, and I said, I'm gonna go for a pardon. I think I did successful after prison, and I'll be a good candidate for it, and I'm gonna go for it.
Thank you, Mr. Hurt. We'll open it up to questions from the board. Board members? Judge Kremers.
Good afternoon, sir. So, when did you get out of prison?
I got out of prison July 23rd of 2013.
Okay. Then it looks like you had a misdemeanor theft conviction in 2011. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what was that about?
So my cousin worked at this company called Trimont, and basically he stole some copper, and I had let him use my vehicle prior to that, and he had left his work tools in my vehicle, and he called me down there, and I went down there, and I did help him move this copper. However, I didn't know what all he had done, so that's why I was charged with that misdemeanor.
Okay. And then in 2020, did you get charged with interference with custody?
I did, and that was dismissed.
And what was that about?
So my son he was 16 at the time, and I was late dropping him off. I had a 7 p.m. Drop off time, and I was late, and his mom reported him that I wasn't there on time.
Okay. And also in 2004, you had a conviction of in Milwaukee County, a misdemeanor sex with a child conviction.
Yeah, that was with the same incident. That was with my son's mother. Yeah, she was 17, and I believe I was turning 21, and she got pregnant.
Well, if she was 17, it wouldn't have been a crime. Was she younger than 17?
No, that's why I said 16 or older. It was a misdemeanor.
Oh, okay. All right. I think that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Eric?
Good afternoon. In your application, you
afternoon.
mentioned that you completed domestic violence programming. What did you learn from that?
I learned a lot. It was a lot of guys in there that had some backgrounds that was, worse than mine. And to be in a situation, I couldn't imagine, being in a situation and the domestic violence. It was just some further education from where I was working. I never had a domestic dispute and had been sentenced myself. That was some more voluntary work that I had did, but I learned a lot from them talking to the different guys that was in there, and it gave me a different outlook at life as well too. Learning from those guys' experience.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions from the board? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hurt. We appreciate your
You're
time
welcome.
today and hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. You have a good weekend as well.
Excellent. Next up, we have Jane Bowser. Ms. Bowser?
There we go. Okay. Hi, my name is Jane Bowser. I was convicted of burglary in 1997. I had made some friends that I didn't really know all that well, and one of them suggested we go break into a house that he knew was vacant because he had a paper route, and I went along. One of the neighbors was just being a good neighbor and saw the activity at the house and called the police, and we were all arrested, and I was there. I did participate. I was tried as an adult, as I was just a little bit older than everyone else. And now here I am in Florida. It's 20 years later. Last year, March, my husband was diagnosed with GISTs, which is gastrointestinal stromal tumors. We have a small business, and I wish to get a CPC. So in the hopefully the unlikely event that something should happen to him, we're able to continue the business. We do have one employee. I am very active in the community. I did move to Florida to be a nanny, and then I met my husband, and then we had some children, and I've been a stay-at-home mom. But like I said, I've been very active in the community. I do an annual garbage pickup with my neighborhood. I serve on a advisory committee. I'm a secretary of the Lee County Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. It is voluntary, but I've been doing that for over 10 years. I served on the board in my community, and that's how I got involved with that. So we helped get sidewalks in our community. I currently work at the Lee County Park, Lakes Park, and I drive the train, which is really fun. And I have my little engineer hat right here, which is really fun. So it's just a small train and it's really cute. I have also been very active with Pokemon Go. If you've never heard of it, it's a game that people play on their phone. And I'm an ambassador. And I have a cute little hat that they gave me for that. And I have recently been asked to marry a couple that has met while playing the game in our park. And so I would also like to be a notary. And as I understand, you can't do that and also be a felon. So I have a few different reasons. My daughter's also in the Fire Cadets and the Police Action League program. And I would just like to have my name cleared for her sake as well. So if she ever has to disclose, are any of your family members a felon, then hopefully it won't come up.
Thank you, Ms. Bowser.
I think that's all I have.
Okay, great. We'll open questions from the board. Board members? Reverend Hancock.
What is a CPC license?
It's a commercial pool certification. We have a pool and hot tub repair business.
I see. Okay, thank you.
And I would need to be bonded and insured.
Right.
Any other questions from the board? All right, thank you, Ms. Bowser. That covers it from us. Appreciate your time and hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you, and I appreciate your time and your consideration. You guys have a nice rest of your day.
Thank you. Next up, we have Timothy Kroll. Mr. Kroll?
I don't know how to.
You can go right ahead, Mr. Kroll.
Hello, my name is Tim Kroll. I have prepared a statement for today. 25 years ago, when I was 21 years old, I made a terrible decision that changed the course of my life. I was struggling financially and I believed I was invincible. I intentionally set fire to my own automobile with the plan of filing an insurance claim. For that, I was convicted of arson with intent to defraud. I served my time at Huber, and then I completed 4 years of probation. There's no excuse for what I did. I take full responsibility for my actions, and I am truly sorry. I deeply regret the poor judgment I showed and the consequences my actions had on others in my own life. Since that time, I have dedicated myself to becoming a better person. My family, my coworkers, and my community can be proud of. For more than 25 years, I have been a member of the Milwaukee Building Trades. Through my work with WRTP Big Step, I have helped recruit minorities and women into the skilled trades. I also was a member of the Wisconsin Construction Advisory Committee through WRTP Big Step. I volunteer at job fairs and recruiting efforts, and I enjoy helping people who may feel lost or uncertain about their future because I remember what it was like to need a better path in life. Over the past 25 years, I have had no further contact with law enforcement. I have worked hard, been a good neighbor, a dependable coworker, loyal friend, and a committed family member. I have focused on my career and giving back to the community and living my life with honesty and integrity. I also share my story with apprentices and others entering the trades. I tell them no matter how difficult life becomes, making a bad decision is never worth it. I encourage them to work hard and never give up and always choose the right path. I respectfully ask you to consider granting me a pardon. The mistake I made 25 years ago does not define the person I am today. I hope you will judge me not only by the worst decision I made as a young man, but also by the life I have lived ever since. Thank you for your time, consideration, and the opportunity to appear before you today.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Questions from the board? Cindy?
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Kroll. I have two questions. The first is, you involved two other firefighters in your offense in terms of giving you a ride or moving cars or something. Were they ever charged?
No, they were not.
Did they lose their jobs?
They did not.
Okay. Do you have contact with them still?
One of them a little bit, the other one not at all.
Okay. All right. My second question is about your letters of support. You submitted a lot of letters, but many of them were from like 2011, 2016. The most recent one is 2020. I'm curious why you didn't submit letters that are more current.
I was trying to do like a well-rounded, throughout the years. I've been collecting letters ever since. So I had there was no reason why. I thought I submitted a fair amount of letters and they thought they were some really good letters.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock? Oh, sorry, you're on mute, Jerry.
The district attorney in Milwaukee supports your getting a pardon. How does that support make you feel?
It really made me feel good. The day I got the letter, and it made me feel and made me realize that for the past 25 years, everything I've done for myself, my community, my employer has really paid off. And what I did 25 years ago is not a representation of who I am today. And by having him see that made me feel really good.
Good, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Okay, that covers it from us, Mr. Kroll. Appreciate your time and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. Next up, we have Christopher Condiff. Mr. Condiff? Oh, you're still muted, Mr. Condiff. I think it went on and off.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay, so I prepared a speech just in hopes that I don't miss out on anything. Good afternoon, members of the board. I truly appreciate the opportunity to speak today. My name is Christopher Condiff, and I come to this board with full accountability, seeking a pardon for my felony convictions. Ironically, as I sit here writing this speech the night before, it's exactly 17 years to the date of my first crime. On August 13, 2009, I was pulled over with THC and my grandfather's knife from the war in Racine. At that time, I didn't even see a problem with it, and my mistakes were foolishly celebrated by those around me. There was no good reason for driving with either item. 6 months later, I carelessly bought stolen items without consideration of any outcome, which led to multiple felony charges, and I pled guilty to furnishing a firearm to a felon. I willingly took one of the firearms to a friend's house who was convicted. He was already a convicted felon. The guy who sold me the items was just an addict trying to get fast cash, and I saw it as me getting a good deal. I completely chose to ignore the stolen aspect and bought the items anyways, never considering someone was a victim of this crime, and I was now entering this situation. About 3.5 years later, as a full-blown addict myself at this point, I broke into somebody else's home for my habit and stole video game systems and games. To this day, that choice haunts me the most. As a father of 4, knowing I violated someone's home and took items meant for their child hurts me deeply. Living in fear and trauma from someone violating your safe space is something I have really struggled with. I wish I had a time machine and I could go back in life and completely do this a different way. That child that lived in that house, I'd make sure that this could never happen to that innocent child and that father. I took a TV, video game systems, along with an empty gun case. After this arrest, it was my first period of being sober for a few years. It only lasted a few months, and I caved back into the addiction, and my life became back in shambles. My kid's mom moved up north to get the kids away from me because I was in self-destruct mode. Shortly after that, my one true friend who I had left, who wasn't wrapped up in drugs, opened his home and gave me a place to stay and helped me get a job. Instead of honoring that, I betrayed him. I took his car, I stole his belongings to sell for drugs. Sorry. And he didn't deserve to have his trust broken, his things taken, or his life disrupted by my actions. Deep down, the weight of betraying the one person who truly stood by me is something I still carry and deeply regret to this day. I still haven't gotten close to anyone else. Yes, I have coworkers and associates, but nobody that I truly call a friend. I've been so busy rebuilding my life, building my career, and fixing the relationships with my oldest kids, while also being a superhero to my 2 youngest kids, because they've never even met the addict father that I was to the older siblings. Fearing whether their dad would die, get hurt, or end up back in jail. It's beautiful that my 12 and 7-year-olds have no idea what a selfish person I was. But on the other side of that coin, I've put my 22 and 18-year-old through a form of torture by having them watch me self-destruct. Our relationships are amazing now, and they say they wouldn't change anything because they love the person I am, and they think the time in prison and all the obstacles that I've had to overcome made me into this caring, loving, kind person who puts everyone first before myself. I truly struggle with knowing I left a path of people, places, and things. I'm so sorry. Victimized by my actions. My life contributed in a downward spiral of homelessness, warrants, and running from reality. I was sleeping outside and had nobody. I felt like I was below rock bottom. Honestly, when I was sent to prison for 18 months, I really looked forward to it. It was my only hope at getting sober. After getting out, I relapsed one more time, and then I was sent to MSDF on December 9th, 2016. This was the day my whole life changed. Calling home and hearing how torn my angry kids were, it broke. My oldest kid told me never to call him again and that it'd be easier if I was dead because he wouldn't have to worry every night about me. I replay this conversation often. At that time, multiple people were getting high that I knew and they all died and overdosed. And I didn't even process it until I was incarcerated. That played a really big part in my change of my life. I also kept thinking about men in prison that were doing life sentences, guys who could never go hug their kids and kiss them again, but have taken the time to coach me in the right direction. I realized how precious life was, and I promised myself to turn it around. I can't think of those men enough for how they've impacted my life. Recently, about a year ago, I had donated a kidney to my mother. Multiple people were involved, 8 people in the donation. So my kidney saved some lady's life up north Wisconsin, and my mother's life was saved because of my deed. I now have been sober for 3,553 days, nearly 10 years, and over 12 years crime-free. Since that turning point, I have worked relentlessly to rebuild my life. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Kodnev. Questions from the board? Cindy.
Good afternoon, sir. You talked in your application and again today about the crime that hurt you the most, the friend who opened his home to you and as a place to stay, and that you took his vehicle and committed some offenses against him. Have you made any attempts to reach out to that friend and make amends?
No, ma'am. He recently reached out to me and we spoke recently, like in the last month, but in the past years, this wasn't the first time I did him wrong. So I just felt I was just embarrassed and I didn't feel like there was any coming back from this. So no, I never reached back out. And for a while it was part of my case where I wasn't allowed to reach out.
No, I understand that that's typically you can't contact the victim, but I wondered after you discharged from that case if you had reached out. So he reached out to you recently.
He reached out to me recently and was just trying to see how life was going for me, if I was still a full-blown addict or if I was actually living a prosperful life.
Okay.
So it was great to touch base with him. I never thought I would ever speak to him again.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock. Oh, you're still on mute.
Going back to the firearms case, in your application, you say you did not know the person you gave the gun to was a convicted felon, but you told the police you did know he was a convicted felon. So why are you telling a different story now than you told then?
I believe it was a really long time ago, and I don't know if he was actually like actually convicted at the time. I think he might have just had charges and been like he had been arrested for something. I don't think he was actually convicted.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other questions from the board? Okay, I think that covers it from us, Mr. Kodnev. I appreciate your time and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
You too. Thank you, everybody, so much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Monty Smith. Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, do we have you with us in the Zoom? Okay, we will come back to Mr. Smith if we get him, and in the meantime, Tracy Davis. Miss Davis? Miss Davis, you're still muted.
Okay, there we go.
There we are.
Okay, how are you today? As the pardon board, I really appreciate your time for allowing me the opportunity to stand before you and present my case to you. Well, I think I was 20 years old and I had met a guy and I was young and naive. I had 2 children and he had presented me with the opportunity to, he had some checks and he would write the checks out, and he wanted me to partner with him and go into the bank and open a bank account and deposit the checks into my account, and then at a later date we can go back and retrieve the money and split it. And so when he first presented the opportunity to me, I told him no, I wasn't willing to do that. And so I kind of brushed it off. And then I seen him another time, and he kind of came over to my house. We were outside talking. He was, presented the opportunity to me again. And by me being young, and naive, as I said, ignorant to, consequences, wasn't thinking about the consequences that would become of that. I agreed. And so we went over to the bank and tried to deposit the checks into the account, and the police were called. And when the police were called, they came and kind of surrounded me. He was sitting outside in the car. And I had my baby in the car, unfortunately, at the time. And so it was a very bad decision that I made. As a result of that, I was arrested and taken to jail. And so I had to write on a piece of paper I had shared with him, that I hadn't wrote on the check, that, he had gave me the checks, and I had agreed with him to go and deposit the checks into an account and what have you. And so they had me write my name on a piece of paper a lot of times, I guess trying to verify if it was my signature that was on the checks. And so I ended up having to go to court, and I ended up getting probation. And so after probation of 2 years, I completed the probation, never got in trouble again. I went on to getting my GED, starting college, becoming a foster mom. Currently, I am a leader at church. I have given back to the community, doing outreach and, different things in ministry, in the community within my church. And I have obtained a foster care license. From then I have moved from Milwaukee to Texas. I am now looking to purchase some real estate. So just moving forward with my life, I would like to go and obtain a nursing degree. So it would really be helpful for me to get this off of my record, so that way I can move forward with my life. I won't have to worry about that just being over my head, as it has been over 27 years, I believe it is. I have never got into any type of trouble after that, and just want to be a good example for my children and my grandkids, moving forward with my life. So I appreciate you for the time and opportunity.
Sorry. Thank you, Ms. Davis. Questions from the board? Judge Kremers.
Good afternoon, Ms. Davis. Do you have a tax warrant, delinquent tax warrant from Milwaukee County from 2013?
A delinquent tax warrant?
Tax warrant, yeah. Is that?
No, what is that exactly?
Well, it's an amount of $20,000 from 2013 in Milwaukee County.
Oh, absolutely not.
That's not you.
No, sir.
And you have a kind of common last name, so it's possible that it was somebody else, but okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock.
Ms. Davis, the district attorney in Milwaukee who reviewed your application supports your getting a pardon. The decision will be up to Governor Evers, but how does that support make you feel?
It makes me feel very encouraged, as it has been a very long time, with me having that being over my head and not being able to, do certain things, as far as going to school, getting into clinicals and things of that nature. So I'm really appreciative for that support, because it allows me to have the opportunity to move forward with, my future.
And how many kids did you have when this crime occurred?
Yes, sir. I had two. I had two, yes.
And how are they doing?
They're working on it. One is 34 and the other one is 29. Yeah, so they're working on it. They're working on getting their self together.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions from the board? All right, thank you, Ms. Davis. Appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Thanks.
Next up, we have Lavelle Butler. Mr. Butler.
Yes. Good afternoon, board.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm here seeking a pardon for a 1996 felon fleeing for officer. I was wrong. I take fully responsibility for my actions. I could have killed others and mine, including myself. All I had to do was pull over. I was wrong at that time. Through these decades, I have learned to obey law, pull over for the police. For the police and just get on with my life. And I've been working for 19 years for a school bus driver. After June, when school's over, I'm a CDL dump truck driver. And I just like enjoying life. I travel once a year. I go fishing. I have 2 grandchildren now that I'm very blessed for. And I'm just here to seek pardon to start a new career. I wanted to be an MSDF and looking forward to taking care of my grandkids and enjoying life.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Questions from the board? Eric.
Good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. I have one question about a 2014 charge for misdemeanor battery that looks like it does get dismissed, but there may have been a warrant around that in 2017. Do you recall that? And if so, why did it take so many years to get resolved?
I didn't know at the time that I had a warrant. So when I found out it was a warrant, I took care of it. And yeah, that's happened and for that, it was let me see for that warrant. Yes, I didn't know I had a warrant until they pulled me over.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. No problem. Thank you.
Cindy.
Yep. Good afternoon, Mr. Butler. It looks
Good
like
afternoon.
in 2001, you were arrested for a felony first-degree intentional homicide, which was later dismissed.
Yes.
What were the circumstances there?
Oh, that's the worst day of my life. Well, I was hanging with the wrong crowd and they put my name in false allegations. And yeah, that's what I get for hanging with the wrong crowds. Like they say, birds flock together, but this bird took another route.
So in the application in number 7, it asks you to list any other arrests you've had, even if it didn't lead to charges or they were dismissed, and you checked no. Is there a reason you didn't list that on
I
your
probably overlooked it. And I went down to the municipal court and I got all the records was listed on my I was charged with. And that's what I really put down. I didn't know I had to put the others down.
Well, that's the question. Number 7, have you had any other interactions? This includes arrests that did not lead to any charges,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. So,
Yeah, I probably looked over that. I'm sorry. Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Reverend Hancock.
So what was that 2001 homicide all about?
I don't know nothing about it. It was just hanging with the wrong crowd. Like I said, it was false allegations. Like I was hanging with the wrong people. And when you hang with the wrong people, you're just as one of them. So I had just to change my life, stop hanging around the wrong people, stop going to my neighborhood for one, and just take my life to another way.
Okay, but were you there when the homicide occurred?
No, no, sir. No, sir.
Okay.
And Mr. Butler, I'm sorry, I do want to follow up on that a little. I just don't feel like we understand what happened. I hear you saying wrong crowd. But I guess I'm left guessing what that means. Could you just explain a little bit?
Well, hanging with the wrong crowd, meaning with the crowds were like people just don't have nothing in life, and just hanging with just the wrong crowd in my neighborhood, and I was just
Did someone give your name to the police because
yes,
you were a friend
yes,
of theirs,
yes.
but
They
weren't
well,
there?
actually, we was all from the same neighborhood. So long story short, we was just hanging around, and all of a sudden my name came up to some homicide that I don't have no idea, but it came up because they say you hangs with them. So I'm like, if I hang with them, that doesn't mean I does that type of stuff. So I stopped hanging with people that do criminal stuff because that involves me in it.
Okay, and so you were arrested. Was everyone in this friend group arrested?
Yes.
Okay, so just the cops picked up multiple people for this homicide. You were one of them because they were just known associates of yours.
Yes. He say, she say, telling it this, and yes.
And did one of those people eventually get convicted of the homicide?
Yes, I think so. I have no knowledge. I don't know because I didn't want to talk about it because at the end of the day, I don't want to get myself harmed or none of that. But yeah, they took care of it.
Okay. Cindy?
Just one more question on this, Chair, if I could. Did you know the victim?
No.
Thank you.
And Mr. Butler, just one other question. We talked about your warrant for this battery disorderly conduct charge. Was that a domestic abuse incident?
It was a domestic abuse, but it wasn't abuse. It was just Lion said I did, but I had no knowledge of it. I did a verbal abuse, but I didn't touch her, verbal abuse. Yes.
A verbal fight. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board? All right, thank you, Mr. Butler. I think that covers it from us. I appreciate your time and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Terry Kilgore. Mr. Kilgore?
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Go ahead.
Go right ahead. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I'm Terry Kilgore. 1997, I was convicted of party to a crime of forgery and a bail jumping to the same case because I was late for court. What happened? I had a set of friends or associates, you would say. They cleared out someone's checking account, and I was offered money to take them to cash it or do whatever they had to do. And I did that, but not really knowing all of the ramifications of what they did. And once the police were involved, they came to me about it, and I denied knowing the people that did it. So, I was guilty of basically lying about that. So throughout the course of everything, over the years, I've missed out on many opportunities, jobs, housing, etc. Which before all of this happened, I attended college, and I was actually on my way back to college before the incident happened, but it derailed my life at that time. During the course of me serving my time, I did a lot of community service, did a lot of classes to kind of go over like criminal thinking patterns that I may have had that I didn't know I had at the time. From then, I became a father. I'm now a grandfather. I'm a homeowner. Um, I did a lot of jobs through the course of this time. Actually injured myself, and I'm currently on disability because of that. Um, so I know that my life would have been in a lot better situation had I not been a part of the incident that I take responsibility for. Um, and I just kind of picked my life up and made the best of it from there. But I would definitely like to clear my name, excuse me, clear my name and and not have the stigma of being a felon. Um, you know, when it comes to travel, when it comes to, you know, voting and things of that nature. And that's why I'm here today.
Thank you, Mr. Kilgore. Before I open up for questions, I just want to touch on one thing you just referenced about voting. And I just want to note for you and anyone else who might be watching the hearing that in Wisconsin, you are generally eligible to vote if you're a convicted felon, as long as you've completed your sentence. So any incarceration time, any probation or extended supervision. So if that has felt like a barrier to voting for you, I would encourage you to look into it because you're likely eligible to vote regardless of the outcome of today's hearing. But with that, I'll open up for questions. Judge Kremers.
Good afternoon, sir. It looks like you have a number of domestic violence convictions in 2003, 2006, 2007, and 2008. Does that all involve the same victim?
Those were with my child's mother, and they were arguments, never a physical thing. And I don't think I have convictions. They may be disorderly conducts. I don't know.
Yeah, those are convictions. Those are criminal charges. I mean, one of them you were charged with aggravated assault. That was a battery aggravated assault that was dismissed but read in to a disorderly conduct conviction. So that like there was a battery involved.
Well, like I said, it's verbal issues that occurred, and one incident happened where I left the scene before the police got there, so a warrant was put out, and then once I was apprehended or turned myself in, it was dropped. So
yeah, well, there were other ones where you got convictions, including one for a battery as a domestic abuse incident. And
what year is that?
Disorderly conducts. Those all involve the victim, though. Is that right?
The 2008 one was another child's mother, where it was once again another argument that took place, and I stayed until the police got there, and they said that since they were called, that essentially somebody had to go to jail.
Well, I understand.
So that's what.
But then there still had to be court proceedings and a conviction after that.
I was given a $350 fine for disorderly conduct.
Okay.
That was 2008, and that was the last incident that I had.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Eric.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up on that. In your application, you said about one of the incidents that you did push the victim back. Maybe you had been hit first. Is that one of these same incidents we're talking about, or was that something else?
Do you know what year?
I do not, and that's what I was hoping to clarify, if that was the 2003 battery or if that was one of these 2008 cases.
Honestly, I don't know. Like I said, that was 20 years ago or so. So
that doesn't sound familiar to you, though, as any specific incident?
No. I mean, because like I said, my memory was, as I'm going through, maybe if I sit here long enough, maybe so, but I don't have any incidents where I injured anybody where I hit anybody either. So when you have a child with someone and you get in a dispute, it's a domestic. So that's what that was. So.
All right. Thank you for your response.
No problem.
Other questions? Reverend Hancock.
The judge in Rock County who reviewed your application for a pardon supports your getting a pardon. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good because generally when you see, you don't get to see the person, you just see the paper. And for the judge to see the paper and say, hey, this person, he may have had some issues in the past, but maybe he's not that same person. So me being here today, I'm able to confirm his beliefs or her beliefs that I'm not that same person and I'm not involved in any activities that a paper may say.
And you had a very supportive letter from Jeffrey Stovall.
Yes.
How do you know Jeffrey Stovall?
We are essentially like family. I met him when he first came into town, and we got really close. He later went on to marry a cousin of mine, and we've always maintained a very good relationship. And we've also done things together. We've built things together. We've traveled together, and we currently are in talks of trying to get involved into doing care for children with disabilities or with sketchy backgrounds, so to say. And so another part of me clearing my name would be helpful in terms of me getting involved with him and his wife with that situation as well. Because I have years of mentoring and things of that nature. So this would be a big help in terms of me getting involved with that with them.
And he is a principal at a middle school here in Madison.
Yes.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you, Mr. Kilgore. I think that covers it from us. Appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoy your Friday.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. I believe we have Mr. Smith in the Zoom with us now. Monte Smith, if you're with us, we're ready to hear from you.
How you doing?
Hi, Mr. Smith. We can hear you. We're going to try prompting you for video.
Okay.
There we go. All right, go right ahead.
How you doing? My name is Monte Smith. I was convicted in 1995 of felony burglary. Then I pretty much stay out of trouble. I mean, since 95, I kept jobs, steady jobs. They weren't paying off in earned my CDLs in 2003, I believe. And pretty much just working, staying out of trouble. Just trying to stay out of trouble.
Okay, we can open it up to questions from the board. Board members? Eric.
Good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. I noticed in the public docket of administrative liens that it appears you owe about $13,030 in outstanding child support in 2 counties. Is there anything more that you could tell the board about that?
Well, 2 of my cases, I'm just paying off interest from my 2 older kids to my 2 younger kids. But one of my jobs, last 2 jobs I had, they wasn't taken out for all of them. I went to them about it because at that time I was on my way purchasing a home. I was telling them, like, I don't want my house. I want to try and get a home. I don't want to take it from me. Child support sent them the letter. They started taking it out, then they stopped again. Current job, the same thing. I have been in all my kids' life other than one because his mother moved out of town on me and child support wouldn't help me, but I continued paying. Basically, I'm with my kids on the weekends, and because I drive school buses, I'm off for the summertime. My son, he's with me till yesterday, but I knew I had to do this, and he liked to play Roblox real loud, and so I took him home. But I'm in my kid's life. I take care of them, come out of pocket, and pay my child support.
Okay, so you're currently paying, or when you're working as a school bus driver, you're currently paying. Is that right?
Yes, and they're taking out my unemployment.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Cindy?
Yep. Good afternoon, Mr. Smith.
How you
As
doing?
part of the application process, people are encouraged to submit letters of support for their application. You chose not to submit any. Can you tell the board why not?
I submitted them. Actually, I mailed them in and submitted them probably like a week or two ago. First, most people I could associate with now, they don't know nothing about what I did in the past. They know who I am now. So most time I try to keep my past to myself. So I won't get nobody won't put no judgment on me of who I was versus who I am. But I did mail some from, I think I mailed it off like last week, Thursday or Friday.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Mr. Smith, just to clarify, you sent those through USPS or by email?
I sent them through US Postal Service.
Okay, I don't think we've received those yet, but we'll keep an eye out for them.
Okay, it was like 3 or 4 of them.
Judge Cremers?
Trying to find my question was here.
Judge, while you're looking at your notes, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, I misspoke. We do have those letters. Staff just checked.
That's part of, I was trying to figure out, I thought I'd seen something from Samuel about some letters. You had a felon in possession of a firearm case?
Yes, sir.
Dismissed?
Yes, sir.
What was that about?
My little brother got mixed up in a case, and he basically asked me, he was trying to be a friend and put the gun up. When he got it right, he had asked me to turn the gun in, me not knowing what could happen with me with it. So I went and turned it in.
I see. Now that case was dismissed, but what would a pardon do for you? Why do you want a pardon?
I believe it could open better avenues for me somewhere down the line. Well, as a kid, I used to like watching Matlock, so I wanted to be a lawyer. So I want to try to pursue that avenue and pursue an avenue of maybe trying to be an auditor in my district I live in.
All right, thank you.
Other questions? Reverend Hancock.
The district attorney who reviewed your application for a pardon supports your getting a pardon. How does that support make you feel?
It makes me feel good. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Smith? All right, thank you, Mr. Smith. We appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Oh, you too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And our last applicant this afternoon is LaDaniel Gillespie. Mr. Gillespie.
Can you hear me?
We can. And there was your video.
Oh, okay. Hey, good morning. How you guys doing? My name is LaDaniel Gillespie, and in 1995, I committed an armed robbery. What can I say about that? I'm a little nervous. I'm so nervous. I've been thinking about this for so long, and now I'm trying to put the Okay. Committed armed robbery. I recently turned 18 years old. I was hanging with different people in the neighborhood, and basically it was a situation where I was just trying to be whatever and hang with whatever and, you know, help myself, help my family and what have you. And so somebody from the neighborhood I got close to, he told me about a store. I'm like, okay. So we went to the store. It was a store, wherever, Villard Avenue store. We went into the store. He brandished a firearm. I went behind the counter. I got the money, or I thought. We were getting ready to leave. We had to fight our way out, to leave. Essentially, I was caught for that. I was sentenced to 5 years in Wisconsin prison system, which I completed. And then while I was there, I did get my HSED. I took some other programs, some AODA programs. I took a custodial services program, I believe. And I really honestly thought that I would not be back in prison again. That would be something that I would not be dealing with again. And unfortunately, I ended up going back, and it wasn't for that, because I did that with that. I didn't feel good about that situation, even going there. I was kind of just keeping up with them and just trying to, I guess, be liked or something, I guess. But anyway, and so in 2001, I believe, or 2002, it was a drug case, marijuana, cocaine. I was driving, speeding, on my way to try to get rid of that because I had bills and stuff I needed to pay. And my purpose was to go and get rid of that stuff so I can be able to pay the bills and things I had to pay the following day. And I was arrested for that subsequently, and I was sentenced to, I don't know, almost 3 years maybe. I don't remember exactly. Almost 3 years, I think it was. Almost 3 years. And at that time, I said, yeah, you know what? In all honesty, I quit. The prison thing and the jail thing it's not for me. I had kids, two young kids that I was thinking about, and it wasn't for me. And it took me a while to get a job. It really did. And I finally got a job through my cousin, and I worked that, and that was like my stepping stone. You know, I felt like I was doing what I needed to do, and I just continued to do that. And it felt pretty good to just get up every day, go to work, and do what I needed to do. And I have no problems doing that. I enjoy doing that. I'm at work now currently. I haul heavy equipment. I drive CDLs. That's what I do. I operate and I haul heavy equipment, skid steers, backhoes, all those sorts of things. So initially, my felony did prevent me, but I didn't let it stop me. I just kept pushing. I kept doing what I needed to do. And so I worked for the city of Milwaukee for a while. Ironically, I worked for them for a while, and I wanted to do something better. I started working at Waste Management. I was working there for 7 years, and I recently switched over to the job that I'm currently doing now, which I love. I love this job. And I think in 2009, I had a misdemeanor possession charge. I used to smoke weed. So I had a possession charge in 2009. When I went and got my records, they had something on there from 2001, a disorderly something. I honestly do not even remember, do not have a clue. And since then, I've just been working. I'm just a regular guy. I'm a American. I go to work. That's what I want to do. I want to go to work. I want to go on vacations with my kids. And that's really the turning point that told me, okay, I need to do something when we're trying to go out of the country and we try to do things. I can't even do that because I have something that I've done almost 30 years ago that's hindering me. I'm always at work. That's all I do. That's what I love to do. It's just me. Nobody else at home with me. Just me. I got 2 dogs. That's it. And I go to work every day. And, I don't want to be the dad and the granddad that, couldn't do anything with my kids and my family because of things I've did way back then. I am definitely not the same person I was when I was 17, going on 18 years old, when I was running in a excuse my French, running in a store doing that. You know, I'm definitely not that person. Any person that's the same as they were 25 years ago, something is not right. So I'm not gonna bore you with a whole lot, but for the most part, I've just been living my life, just been a regular person doing regular person things. I don't have a whole bunch of, things that I've been doing to keep myself out. It's just I just made a conscious decision that it wasn't for me, and I just stopped. And it's really that simple.
Thank you,
The
Mr.
only
Gillespie.
excuse me.
Oh, it's okay. You can finish. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, okay. And the only community thing I do a year-round, yearly, it's biker awareness. I know you guys should be familiar with it because we rode up to Madison to get this bill passed. It's Biker Awareness Month in May, and we have a Biker Awareness Community Give Back every year at Montgomery Park. We do this. I do this every single year. This year, I was the one who was cooking for all the kids in the community and all the different things that we have, and I do that every year. I don't have a long book to say, hey, I was in this place and that place. I did some mentoring early on, but I had to do what was best for me, and that's just doing what I do. I work, and if people are in my circle and I see they're heading left, then I try to point them straight. And that's me being honest. I'm not going out and looking for a lot of things I have to do what works for me. And this what's worked for me is going to work, being with my family, and just making a conscious decision. I'm not the same kid. I'll be 49 in a week. August 18th, I'll be 49, and next year 50. My record speaks for itself. I'm just not a person that goes to jail and get in trouble. It's so beyond me that, yeah. And
Thank
my
you,
reason
Mr.
for
Gillespie.
okay, go ahead. Yeah, that's it.
Let's just open up for questions. Yeah. Board
I'm
members.
sorry.
Judge Kramers, you're okay.
Good afternoon, sir. I would like to go back to your description of the robbery in the store. You said something about having to fight your way out. What was that?
Well,
What did you mean?
we were in the store and people came out and they were trying to stop us. So we were trying to get away to get out the store. That's what I mean by that.
I see.
They were trying to stop us from getting away, and we were trying to get away.
All right. And the clerk that the guy with you brandished the firearm towards, how do you think she reacted to this or feels about this?
Extremely scared. And I know her feelings personally because I was in an Advanced Auto Parts store and they got robbed while I was in it. So I experienced everything that lady felt all those years ago. And it's just, yeah, I felt it. So I know how she felt because I was on the other side also. So I know how she felt. It's a very, very, very scary situation. You don't know if you're going to leave. You don't know if you're going to wake up. You don't know what's going to happen. And I put somebody in that position because I basically wanted to keep up with what everybody else was going and, trying to get a little money or whatever instead of just, trying to find a different avenue. I chose that way. And I regret that. I really do. I regret that, especially after feeling it myself. I really do regret that because that is a horrible feeling, and you do not want to go through someone pointing a gun in your face telling you to give you what you have.
How many children do you have, sir?
I have two. I have my oldest daughter is 31 years old. She's a nurse, and I also have a young daughter that's 24, and she works for MPS. So I try to tell them that, your daddy messed up, and I hate that I can't do the different family things that we like, they like to do. I'm stuck to local. I've never been out of the country. I know it's places I can't go. I would love to go. All I do is work. That's all I do. I just work. I can't have those memories and let them know, hey, you can come to a point in your life, but you can fix it. You can do what you need to do and be true to what you're doing, and you can do anything. And I'm a testament to that. It was hard, but I never stopped. That's why I'm here right now. That's why I'm working every day, and I love it. I make 6 figures a year, and I'm proud to say that. This is what I know. This is what I love. This is what I do. I'm regular. I'm just a regular guy. I'm just a regular American guy that want to be able to do stuff with my family without the restrictions of saying, oh, you can't go there, because something I did almost 30 years ago. So my mother kind of pushed me and told me, you need to just do it. You've been doing what you need to do. Just do it. And I'm here. I'm doing it. And I'm doing it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Gillespie. Any
Yes.
other questions from the board? Okay, that covers it from us then. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Gillespie, and hope you enjoy the rest of your workday.
You too. You guys have a good weekend. I'm sorry for rambling.
All right, thank you. Okay,
Thank
and that is our last applicant of the afternoon. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to move the board into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.85 sub 1 sub a sub d and sub f for purposes of deliberations concerning specific cases, considering specific applications, and considering financial, medical, social, and or personal histories of specific persons. Do I have a motion? Judge Kremers, do I have a second? Cindy, all in favor, aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries, and board members will ask for just a moment to get folks back into the waiting room.